Hey everybody, Future Jay here. This is the very first special episode that we call the Supercast. 3 podcasts, Silence Your Cellphones, Whiskey and Wrestling, and of course Travelers on the Omnibus, got together and decided to shoot the shit for 2 hours and see what came of it. We had a lot of fun putting this one together, and we hope you have a lot of fun listening to this. As always, there is mature subject matter, and we do use mature language. And as such, listener discretion is advised. Let's start the show.
Welcome to Fearology. This is Kight. Tonight we're going to be delving into Jack the Ripper. No, we're not, actually.
He's already hijacking the shit.
That's right. Tonight we have a very special episode crossing multiple podcasts in the multiverse of podcasts amongst the podcasts. You can't just
drop the line, we have a very special episode, without talking about somebody got caught at school with drugs.
Yeah.
Or,
I got you. I got y'all covered. I'm on Angel Dust right now. We're good.
Jesus.
I'm on Angel Dust right now. I'll be fine.
Michael has been taking those caffeine pills.
Why is this pink elephant talking?
This actually has nothing to do with a podcast and everything to do with an intervention for Michael and his addiction to speed.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good drug.
I mean, look, it gets me.
You can't be over 250 pounds and on speed. It just doesn't work.
I was going to call him Liv Tyler.
What if you like roll it in peanut butter like a dog?
Oh, peanut butter covered speed.
Wrap it up in cheese. Reese's Speedus.
I think 2 hours of this is fine.
Yeah,
It's a minute. We're already off the rails.
great.
We haven't even made introductions
We didn't
yet.
even make it 30 seconds.
Nope.
What
Yeah.
do you mean?
We had a format 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, this is true.
No,
10 seconds.
no, that's right.
right.
Speaking of shameless
We didn't
plug,
make it a second. Fearology was the first second of this podcast.
Hey,
that's true.
Yeah.
I was
Why
invited
did
to
we
host this show, so that's what I'm going to do.
Why did we let Jody host the show?
Who's Jody?
Okay, so there's two creatures that inhabit the body of Jody Kight. One is Jody, and the other is JL Kight.
And neither
Now,
of them know.
if
that
you're
each
wondering
other
why
exists.
it smells like swamp water musk and somehow also a pizza made only of sausage, that's because it's JL Kight.
That's very true.
There you go.
And not true at the same time.
It exists in all planes of existence.
Yes.
My personalities are very fluid. Anyway,
And now you know, and knowledge is power.
Boom, 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 boom.
go Joe.
Hey,
Ham
there's
sandwiches.
Our tie-in.
There you go.
There's our tie-in.
There we go. Silence your cell phones. Why don't you introduce yourselves?
That's us. I am Jarrett Hubbard.
I am Kevin Shelton.
Sure, it's not Blake Shelton.
It's not, contrary to the many times that I've been called Blake
Are
Shelton
you kidding me?
on this podcast.
We've been calling you Blake this whole time. What the hell?
I was hoping to meet Gwen Stefani tonight, and now I just
Borderline
don't get to.
insulting to Blake Shelton.
I used to tell people
Wait,
that he was
calling Kevin him, or that he's married to Gwen Stefani, or did they break
Yes.
up? Oh, okay.
All
There you
the
go.
yes. What is your podcast about, fellas?
We cover movies and pretty much everything in the movie verse.
as Jay likes to put it eloquently, we are cinephiles. So we enjoy all things cinema and what goes into the production and viewer experience of movies.
Get a little bit closer to your microphone.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's the first time using real technology.
Yeah, we don't have this kind of equipment.
You're used to a boom mic, right?
Yeah. Hey, look,
Yeah.
y'all are from
You got the
Alabama.
guy holding it, so it's,
Yeah,
you don't have to worry about
I'm
it.
from, well, we live in Alabama.
live in Alabama.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Everything is fine. Whiskey and Wrestling, why don't you introduce yourselves?
Well, I'm Michael Hill.
I'm Jason Holder.
We talk about the week in wrestling every Sunday.
And whiskey.
And whiskey.
I mean, I was leaving it open for my co-host to.
Man, it's too late for all that.
We also forgot to do the bell, so real quick, ding, ding, ding. Okay, there you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Is he playing it on the other
He
thing?
would have to play it. I don't have it on this memory card.
I think it.
I'm not going to play it.
Yeah, because I think it's not stoppable either.
It's not.
Okay, there you go. The unstoppable whiskey and wrestling intro. I like
Yeah,
that.
we
Now-
just discuss whiskey, and then we talk about what happened in the week of wrestling. much to our horror most weeks.
Yeah. Now that I've updated the firmware on your mixer over there, you can actually tell it that you want it to be a stoppable track.
That's amazing.
Oh, okay.
So, all right, cool.
Nice inclusion.
All this technology.
Travelers on the Omnibus.
Travelers on the Omnibus, a field trip through nerd and pop culture every, hopefully, Tuesday sometimes, unless my aunt steals my SD card again. That was fun. I loved that. That was great. But yeah, no, nerd culture and pop culture all in
real
one
thing
little
that
place.
happened.
We go
Yes,
everywhere
yes,
as
yes.
long as the bus don't break down, which it does several times in the episode.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to our fallen brother, Ethan Skinner.
Yeah, he could not be here.
He could not be
today,
here tonight
so
because...
we're pouring one out for you, Ethan.
With
Yeah.
his shine down
just
insight.
once, since I'm here, can I say it?
Go for it.
He's a baby.
He's a
Little
little baby.
babe.
That's going to be
He
on a
had to
T-shirt
get-
one day.
Yeah, that's going to be our
That's
first
the first
T-shirt.
merch.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a widow, baby.
There you go.
Well,
But yes.
we've amassed this collective of podcasters to host the supercast of nerds.
I would like to make one call it Parliament Nerdadelic.
I'll allow it.
All right. There you go.
Motion,
All right.
motion passed.
Now, another thing. Okay, so now you're our prime minister now because of that. So, Prime Minister, I would like to also make a motion to the table. In the spirit of liberty, equality, and fraternity, I want to proffer forward to everyone here the opening of one of the other casts as done by my cast, Travelers on the Omnibus. So, I have
I'm afraid.
12-year age Chivas Regal, and I want everybody to just
nice.
have some.
Oh, damn.
Absolutely.
This is a sipping Scotch whiskey, as I understand it. I have cups.
Nah.
I literally
love
just
Jay.
ate
Wow.
Domino's
We-
pizza.
We
This is the
basically
crossover we needed.
we basically
Yes.
just got upstaged by.
Yeah. Long distance.
For the listeners at home,
With
cups
a
are being
spiral.
launched across
As
the room.
whiskey expert, what are your
Guten
thoughts on
Tag.
Yes, whiskey and wrestling. Tell us about Chivas Regal 12-year aged Scotch whiskey. If I can get this bottle
I've
open.
never had the 12-year. Honestly, I have had. There's another one. I forget what the other Chivas Regal is.
I'm an idiot at this. Somebody help me. I'm a weakling.
As he hands it to
It's
the
I have to give it to the
wax.
professional whiskey people. This is what I
Wax
get for trying to
sealed.
upstage the whole bit.
It's Scotch.
There was a
What
bit?
to say about it?
I'm a fan.
Holder, why don't you tell us about the Scotch? Is it an Isla? Is it a...
It's a Scotch. It's not an Isla. It's not a. Crap. Can't even remember what the other ones are now.
Is it a whiskey? Did
Island?
I at least get a whiskey
Island?
out of it?
You got it is a Scotch whiskey.
All right, thank
okay,
God.
Shit.
Radio
We at least
edit.
got that.
What is this? It's a blended. So there you go.
blended Scotch whiskey?
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
If I can get the. You pulled the tab off, Jay.
Welcome
I thought
to
that was what I was supposed to do.
the newly founded Open the Bottle podcast.
We can cut most of this out.
Nah, this is left in.
Okay, he got it. He got it.
Okay.
There you go.
Wait, does that have a
To
screw
start
top?
with negative points for a screw top.
There's no negative points for bringing in alcohol.
That's
not,
true.
Not to me.
Well,
All right, now
see,
just
this
launch
is a
these
whiskey-
across the room.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to throw these across the room now.
There's no technology on it.
No technology whatsoever.
Very,
I like the smell of this.
And we'll leave the bottle on the table so you can refill as possible, I assume.
There we go. Thank you, sir. I would like to make one final motion. I would like from Silence Your Cellphones. I would like Jarrett to give us a toast to set this evening off as best as we can.
To good friends.
Damn it. Put the shit back
You had
together.
to spin
No.
the top.
Okay.
Put the top back on.
All right.
Coke.
All right.
Good friends, to good times, and to good alcohol.
Here, here.
Clink,
Cheers.
clink,
Cheers.
clink,
Clink,
clink.
clink, 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 clink.
Raise a glass to freedom. Here we go.
Launch.
That ain't me. That ain't me.
It's a sipping alcohol.
Woo! Yes, it is. That's a sipping whiskey. Definitely a sipping whiskey, which is what I did.
I'm like the only person that sipped it that didn't immediately gag from the sipping.
Has a
Congratulations.
It's got a little bit of a burn to it.
Just a tinge.
has a very woody finish.
Yes.
I like the
Not as-
aftertaste.
Not as
Break it down for me, King.
not as burny, not as campfirey as like an Isla.
No, it definitely doesn't have that peat that the Isla has, the smokiness.
It
Yeah, I don't
does
like
have
the
that wood feel.
I don't like the front stuff. I like the back stuff. That's
I like this nice warm
Same.
I like this nice warm hug that it's giving my larynx right now.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
opening
Not
the
terrible.
throat.
it is.
As
It
it
is
were.
better than Canadian Hunter.
That goes
Probably
without
better than
saying.
Canadian
Low
any
bar.
whiskey.
It's better than what was that one?
Wait,
you brought? The one from
isn't
the Kill?
Crown Royal a Canadian whiskey?
Not a fan.
It is a
Yeah.
Canadian whiskey.
You're not a fan of Crown Royal.
Nope.
We are learning so many things about ourselves.
I'm not a fan of
Well,
whiskey.
Oh,
To
there
be
you
fair,
go.
Crown Royal is
Yeah.
that people drink just to sound fancy.
Oh,
Wasn't it
yeah.
Ethan that had his first taste of Crown?
No,
not too
sir.
long
His
ago?
first stage was Peach Crown,
He
It
had
was
peach.
Crown.
Yeah.
Okay.
which Peach Crown ain't bad.
It's not bad.
It's not what you should be opening up your whiskey palate with.
Yeah, not your first go.
I
That's
think
for
if you're
sure.
gonna go
Now, Whiskey
Crown,
and Wrestling has the Crown Royal Black Label that we're
Yes.
going to be trying.
Oh.
Well,
That sounds
that's one of my favorites.
cool.
Absolutely.
Actual.
And we just tried the Winter Wheat, Crown Royal Winter Wheat, a few weeks back, and that was good.
That was
so
pretty
definitely
tasty.
go back and check it out.
The black, look for that to be a lot smoother than the other Crowns.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Crown is that whiskey that everybody drinks because it sounds fancy, because it comes in a dice bag.
yeah.
Yep.
They just want
Yeah,
the
that's
bag.
It does come in a dice bag.
You know, we tend to give Jack a hard time on the podcast as well, for the simple fact that, you know, everybody's like, oh, whiskey, Jack Daniels, pew pew pew, and you know,
It's
we're
the
trying to get people-
Walmart of
We're trying to get
whiskey.
people away from that. You know, we're trying to get people to get.
It's
something
not
that's
all
decent.
Tennessee bourbon or
That's
Kentucky bourbon.
very
And
true. Yeah.
The thing of it is there's so much better out there at that same price point as Jack. You've got the
Well, you've got Redemption, you've got
Yeah,
Tin
Redemption.
Cup, you've got Larceny.
you go a
any
little
of
bit
them.
higher, you get the Four Roses.
Yeah.
And
Four Roses
you know,
is nice.
yeah, and for my money, Redemption, Larceny are some of the best out there. You know.
So thanks, Jay.
Not a problem. Not a
Yeah,
problem.
definitely.
I
man.
wanted,
Jay. Thank you
I
for
wanted to
having
both steal an idea and also give something that was, again, liberty, equality, and most importantly, fraternity. Because this is a sausage party that we're at right now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The Sausage Podcast. All right, here we go.
Parliamentary sausage-adelic.
You're going to keep doing that until it works. aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
Or no,
Till the
it's
wheels
never going
come
to work.
off.
So it's just going to keep doing
Keep
it.
doing it until it's not been done.
I'm glad we finally were able to get together and do this, though.
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
this is great.
This was
This is great.
this was just all the stars aligned for this to
Like,
happen.
it's like when you see a SmackDown superstar on Raw. It's like, Raw, what are they doing here?
You mean every Friday?
Shut up.
Shut up.
Speaking of wrestling, that's your topic, right?
Yeah.
That we're bringing to the podcast tonight.
So we all brought a topic to the table. And I guess
When we
that
say
just-
we all brought a topic, each show brought a
each
topic.
Each
show
show
brought
brought
a
a
Yeah,
topic.
we didn't want this to be an 8-hour podcast.
Yeah.
It might
Yeah,
still.
we're not.
be.
We're not.
It's
We're not
still
extreme.
going that way.
Yeah, we're not extreme history.
I pushed it. I keep pushing it. So like when we do get to like 4 hours, it's not as bad. Well, like I said,
You're
well,
setting
we
setting
said it wasn't going to be an 8-hour podcast. So
Right.
there we go.
expectations.
Yeah. You got to set expectations so you don't meet them. That's
So
our
is that your
motto
way of
as
saying that
Travelers
we
on the
can start?
Omnibus.
Yes.
So the whiskey and wrestling topic that we brought, since we've got a podcast that's about movies and cinema and culture there, and then there's the podcast on nerds and all that stuff that's involved, and then we got the topic of whiskey and wrestling. Not a lot of crossover there, so we thought, what better way to talk about it than how about wrestling in pop culture?
Sounds good to me.
Things like one of the first things I remember as a kid seeing outside of wrestling was the movie They Live.
Definitely.
Sitting there watching as a kid, and all of a sudden here comes Roddy Piper walking on screen, and it's like, he just beat up Hulk Hogan, and now he's kicking alien ass. I mean, whoa.
It's all out of bubble gum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched They Live later in life. I wasn't like a child when I watched it, but like seeing that was still great.
Fantastic
You
film.
go back, before that, you've got the Rocky movie where Thunder Lips, Hulk Hogan
Yeah,
walks
Rocky
in,
3.
and
So there was a lot of that. Wrestling has always had a lot of like pull into pop culture, both ways. I mean, Mr. T at WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, that's the whole reason WrestleMania existed was because of that celebrity factor that they were able to get.
Liberace really sold it.
Liberace, what's it, Cyndi Lauper.
Why
not
are we
exactly
laughing
sure.
at Liberace?
I'm not exactly sure
man
what the
can't
Venn
defend himself,
diagram
he's
of
dead.
Liberace
I don't
fans
think
and
that
wrestling
fit.
fans
I
are.
mean, Snoop Dogg is in the Hall of Fame.
But I'm
that
kind
is
of
true.
guessing it's two individual circles.
It's two circles.
We
that
don't
time,
necessarily
definitely.
hold the Hall of Fame up to some superstar
Drew
status.
Carey is in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Donald Trump is in the Hall of Fame.
There's a celebrity wing, quote, air quotes.
Yeah. The wing
Don't you
for a
insult Drew
fake
Carey.
for a fake Hall of Fame.
Yeah, of the people you could have insulted, Drew Carey's the one you insult. How dare you? He hosts The Price is Right.
Yeah.
Is Pete Rose in the Hall
Whose
of
line
Fame?
is it
Pete
anyway?
Rose is
He's
the
in that
WWE
Hall of Fame. They made a big deal that he was in that Hall of Fame, but
Yeah.
not in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
He is,
Which
he
is
is
a
Hall of
shame,
Famer.
by
He
the
is
way.
Hall of Famer Pete Rose.
Yeah.
Absolute
WWE.
shame.
He absolutely should be in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I
I
agree.
agree.
Bet on wrestling. All right.
But there's been there's the movies and all that's out there that you see the wrestlers in the movies. There's a couple of movies that are about wrestling, Ready to Rumble,
Fighting
The
with your
Wrestler,
family.
The wrestler. That's
Fighting with My
Yeah,
Family.
fighting with
Fighting
my
with
I
My
mean,
Family
ready
was a
to
really
rumble.
good-
That had the tie-in where David Arquette was WCW champion.
Yeah.
That was a big crossover because they were promoting it.
He has now
How
gone
did I
back-
know that the horror podcast guy would bring up David Arquette was the WCW
That's why I'm here.
World
But-
Champion?
but he
Okay,
had-
there we go.
David
He
Arquette
was in
has
Scream.
now gone back to wrestling.
Yes,
where
he
he's
has.
actually put the work in. He's learned how to wrestle
nearly
and almost
died.
died.
Yeah,
Nick,
almost
yeah,
died.
Nick Gage almost killed him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a light tube. Cut his neck.
Cut his
He
neck.
nearly bled out.
And
Yep.
for those of you who don't watch wrestling and you don't know who this Nick Gage guy is, he was legally dead
Yeah.
for 6 minutes. And
Because
he
of
still
a
wanted to
wrestling
go
match.
wrestle because of a wrestling match, and he still wanted to go back out as he was actively dying
He
to go back out there
He
and
tried to
wrestle.
convince the nurse to just put super glue in the sucking chest wound.
no,
that
not
he
just
had.
super glue, like stuff him with towels.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you're pranking somebody's like pool, like put the towel in the pump to break the pump. No,
That's
what the
Sabu
hell?
energy right there.
Yeah. Oh, he's trying to make Sabu look like a pansy.
I think he succeeded.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think Sabu ever
Sabu
died.
looked like he was dead.
Yeah.
Nick Gage was dead.
Yeah, there's a
So-
difference in that.
Back in the 80s, early 90s, wrestlers in movies was always kind of that's a very low budget.
Oh,
very,
Yeah.
How dare you disrespect Terry Funkin' Roadhouse?
yeah. Well,
You
yeah.
son of a bitch.
Roadhouse.
That was a very small part.
But now you've got like The Rock. That's the perfect example.
Yeah, he's the
Yeah.
biggest.
John Cena.
John Cena.
The
John
Rock's
Cena
definitely
as
like,
well. I mean,
yeah.
John Cena in Peacemaker.
Yeah.
Was he was in Cockblockers? I think, wasn't it?
He was in
Cockblockers.
Cockblockers.
I think they just call it
latest
blockers,
Fast and
but yeah,
Furious.
blockers is
Suicide
great.
Squad.
No, the movie is cock blockers, but because they can't.
Oh, yeah, they can't
They
put it
can't.
on-
They can't put that on the thing, so it's just blockers.
Yeah,
He was
that's
also
a great
in
movie.
Daddy's Home with Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think he was like
he was in.
He was in all the Fred movies.
Yeah.
Oh my
You know,
gosh.
we're talking about high budget film.
Let's move on from that.
You got the Scorpion King himself.
Yeah,
You have Hulk Hogan.
Hulk
So-
Hogan, Andre the
He was in
Giant.
quite a few movies.
Oh yeah,
You got
that's-
Andre.
Yeah, we got
Andre showing up in Princess Bride.
That
That's
is.
Yeah,
that's
I
very
think
true.
the-
There's a action figure out for him now. You can get like
As Fezzik?
Yeah, it's Fezzik.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and it's like a huge action figure. Every
It
time I
better
see it
be.
in Books a Million, I'm like,
a-
I really
it's
need
like
to
a
get that.
12-inch figure when all the other ones are like the little.
Yeah,
3.5.
they're all like, yeah.
I think the cool thing that you're seeing now is the difference in ability from like you said back in the day in the late 80s, early 90s when wrestlers were appearing in movies, nobody was expecting them to hold their own. Right?
Yeah, even
in film.
even the movies that were starring wrestlers, they live as the exception, I believe.
That's the only exception that I know.
you know,
When it comes to
during that
Frog
time.
Town, sir.
Yeah. Oh,
Suburban Commando.
Yes,
these
Suburban
are all
Commando,
these are all
Mr.
good
Nanny.
examples of bad movies with wrestlers. And
I would like to now recite my favorite line from Suburban Commando. It is from Christopher Lloyd. I was frozen today. There you go. That's my favorite line from that movie. You don't know what that means, and I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't know what it references in that movie.
I don't know why the Undertaker was in it, but you know,
I remember watching those movies as a child, and being disappointed with my terrible children tastes. Like all I wanted to see was Hulk Hogan in the damn outfit that he's on the cover in, and he was barely in that. And I'm like, what are you doing?
But like to Kevin's point, now though, you can make that direct line from wrestling then to wrestling now to their acting then to the acting now. I mean, it's a TV show now.
But I mean,
there is way more storyline. There is way more. Here's your script. Read your script. Don't deviate from your script.
Yeah,
Than it
especially in
was then,
WWE.
so-
but
yeah.
when you look at the crossover stars, they're putting in the work to make it. You look at guys like The Rock, who when he first started out, he wasn't necessarily a
Great.
big star.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
he got better over time, and he settled into his role, and he
Yeah.
plays The Rock and
I
everything.
think
he
it was
plays-
also a
he
learning
plays-
experience between
you
the
look
company.
at Dave Bautista.
Dave Bautista, I was going
Right.
to
I saw you,
Batista.
you know.
Yeah.
Like he so he told a story like when he first got the part of Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy. Like he said, I broke down crying, and I immediately like went and got acting lessons so I could get better, so I could actually be good. And you see him in other movies where he has to be like a serious actual role, and he's really good. Like in Blade Runner 2049, he is phenomenal in that movie.
We've
I think we're finally just finding a sweet spot
Yeah.
for what wrestlers are
I,
good at.
I think
Yeah.
it's a combination of people seeing like what is successful as far as the actors, wrestlers go, and also like WWE as a company because they acquired their own film company and started putting out trash at first,
The
and
Marine
then yeah,
is not trash.
well,
See no evil.
yeah, see no evil's what I was thinking
Here's
about.
my thing about the whole John Cena thing is,
Right.
because it's something we've talked about.
Yeah.
When you let the Rocks and the John Cenas use their situational awareness and they understand comedy.
And their
Like,
charisma.
at its core, they can play off each other very well.
Well,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
especially improv comedy, like
Right.
coming up with stuff on the fly. I don't know if it was the director of Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm so
James
stupid.
Gunn.
James Gunn made the comments like no one was on that set for the Suicide Squad was improvising better than he was because they have to because across possibly two television shows that air weekly, house shows, pay-per-views, premium live events, whatever, pay-per-views. You've got to consistently like change it up for the audience that you're in front of, the situations that your characters have been
You're
in.
playing- you're
Everything that they're doing is live.
Yeah, it's a
And
theater.
it's live,
Everything.
yeah.
And just remember that when Batista, John Cena, and The Rock were doing house shows, they were doing a show every day with the exception of maybe Wednesday and Thursday.
Yeah,
And they were also
they're
the-
doing a show 5 days a week.
And they were also
Yeah.
at the very beginning of when writers started doing more promo stuff for you.
Yeah.
And so they were like liberal with their freedoms until a certain point, and then everybody had to like go by a script.
Yeah,
but
you get there and they hand you your script and say, "Here you go."
Memorize your lines.
That's why John Cena is great in Peacemaker and awful in Fast 9.
Yes.
Yeah, because he doesn't actually get to do anything I think he wants to do.
right.
Yeah. I felt like that was probably more of a paycheck thing or just keeping my star on the rise.
Yeah,
basically.
it's one for your resume.
Yeah.
Now, I
You
haven't
can tell
seen
in-
it, but how is he in Bumblebee?
I never saw
He
Bumblebee.
was
Bumblebee was really good.
But
And he-
Bumblebee is
I
actually
like-
really
I liked
good.
him in
It's worth
Bumblebee.
watching.
But-
He's solid in that, but he's
But
not
he's
like
kind
memorable.
of he's stiff, but he's playing a stiff character though.
Yeah,
he's
he's
playing a military guy.
This is going to sound strange. Also, the Transformer movies are fun, whereas Fast 9 is more about, in my opinion, serious action, even though it goes so far over the top.
Fast 9 is about family.
Yeah, it's
It's
all
about
about
family.
family.
Yeah.
Over
Well,
the
no,
top.
bring it all
What do
back.
you mean?
Oh, I don't know. The fact that, let me ram the side of this bridge so that it wraps around my axle so that I can chase after a plane
we had
that
this
has already
exact
flown off a
conversation
goddamn
last
mountain.
Word for word.
We were talking about the Fast and Furious franchise last night in the
okay.
truck on our way back because it's like 45 minutes what we're
Yeah.
saying, right? Mm-hmm. So I literally, what you just said was what I said.
Welcome to the Jay McCarthy hive mind.
Yeah.
It's going to get scarier from here. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm just going to
yeah.
say that right now.
That's going to be his
Yeah,
solo
we're gonna,
podcast.
we're sorry. That's all we can say is
So let me ask the Whiskey and Wrestling guys, are there any wrestlers now, because I like wrestling, but I don't watch it as much as I used to. Are
We
there
don't
any,
either.
Yeah, it's been a thing. Like tomorrow's SummerSlam. Well, when we're recording this, tomorrow is SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there
I
any
think we're
wrestlers
both watching
now
SummerSlam though. So
I'll be watching it with you then because I'm off tomorrow for the first time in forever.
that are going to make the jump?
Roman Reigns for sure. He's already
I saw him
in the
in
process
Hobbs and
of
Shaw.
it.
Yeah, doing
Yeah.
partial TV.
Yeah, I mean, he. So for those that don't pay attention to wrestling, obviously, you may have even heard the name. You know, Roman Reigns. He gets both the belts. He unifies the titles. He's the big guy. You know, for everybody. They did that so that USA and Fox would stop fighting. And then as soon as he got that, and as soon as they said, yeah, the reason we gave him both belts is so he can show up on both shows, Roman Reigns was like, yeah, I'm going to renegotiate my contract, so I kind of just don't have to work
Deuces.
anymore.
Plus,
he
he's
became
already
a part timer.
and he's already
Yeah.
been in a film. He played
Hobbs
a
and
bit
Shaw,
part.
yeah.
He played a bit part in Hobbs and Shaw.
Hobbs and
The
Shaw.
Rock's
Yeah,
brother.
right,
Yeah.
right.
So I mean, yeah, he's definitely going to make the jump. The Miz technically already has, kinda.
And the Marines
he's
direct to DVD.
But
It's
but
more
it's
along the
also
lines
on
of the
TV
reality
Been on like
series.
5.
Also
Marine
true,
movies, I think.
Ms. TV, not Ms. TV, but Ms. and
Ms. and
Mrs.
Mrs., yeah.
You know,
Which
I think you're gonna see that.
I want to say something real quick. Marie Soulette, now Maryse Mazanin, the Miz's wife, not just like a beautiful woman. She's actually like got a personality and like she's an actual human being, and that's kind of been
Right.
cool to see, like both
okay.
in the WWE and on that show. That's just I just want to say that right now.
So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me to see. You know,
You think Roman's like the next
I think
big
Roman's
one?
gonna
Are there
be
any
the
like
next
John
big
Cena
one.
rocks?
I think
I
he's
think the
it.
problem. I think the
gonna
problem
be-
that you get with WWE, especially, is they're trying not to have.
See, bingo.
They're
Right.
trying
Right.
really
Yeah.
hard for nobody to be The Rock, or they don't want anybody
Because
to
they're
ever
gonna lose talent.
not.
Yes.
They don't
Yeah.
because
Well,
The Rock
they
never has
don't-
to come back to WWE.
they
John
don't
Cena
want
really
that to
doesn't
happen.
ever have to come back to WWE, and they don't want that. They want these people to have to be able to come back.
But
and
it
be
is
a
happening
legend
with
or
Roman
whatever.
Reigns.
They
got
want them to
Roman
be
the
beholden.
point.
Yeah, yeah.
They've got Roman to the point. I think they even may have gone a little too far with him in their eyes. Because that's exactly it. They don't want The Rock. They don't want John Cena, which basically left him holding a bag. You know, hey, you know, we've built you up. We've made you this, you know, household star. I mean, look at John Cena's outside of WWE stuff. He has the title for most Make-A-Wish.
It's like
Yeah.
800 or
He's got a lot.
crazy.
Well, I want to, if I got
He
just a
is.
minute here. A child on the spectrum, like that, he is evacuating the Ukraine and he doesn't want to
Yeah,
leave,
yeah,
and
yeah.
so his parents tell him, like, if we get to this point, like John Cena's there waiting for it. He hears about this story, drops everything he's doing,
And
flies
flies to
out to
Holland.
Eastern Europe to meet this
it
kid.
was in Holland.
Wasn't
In Holland.
okay, my
But-
apologies.
but still-
I thought it was
the
still in
family
Eastern
goes,
Europe.
Like
My
he's
bad.
flying out.
But
to
yeah,
Europe.
he's
From the
dropping
United
everything he's
States to
doing. Like
Europe.
he is a
Yeah.
genuinely good human being.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
he
yeah.
was at the house for like the family member where they were going to be. So when the kid got there, and I say kid, he's like 20s. He was in his 20s.
Yeah.
Right.
When he opens the door, John Cena opened the door for him. Right.
Yeah, and they hung out with him
Yeah.
for a little while. Like
Genuinely
wow.
awesome dude.
Yeah.
He left WWE holding the bag. Right.
Yeah.
They built him to this point, and then he was like, "Yeah, I'm going to go do all this stuff that pays a whole lot more." Probably won't kill me or doesn't have the opportunity to kill me.
Yeah.
And I can be on things like the Today Show. I can be on Late Night. I can get my name into popular culture, not just this wrestling circle,
He's
right?
married now,
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He just
Yeah.
so
married-
like
got
it's
married
probably
to
giving him
somebody.
some more
Yeah, for sure.
work-life balance because I know it used to be
The
like
Rock-
a
Rock did the same
360
thing.
day.
Yeah.
And you
worker.
know,
Rock did
you
it,
look at other
Batista
guys.
did it.
You look at other guys. Edge, when he was forced to retire, he went into acting. He had his own.
Yeah, he was
show
on TV for a little
Sci-Fi,
bit.
Yeah, yeah,
and
a
then he
show
went
on
into
Sci-Fi.
Vikings,
Yeah.
which was
Okay.
a huge show at the time.
That
Before he
sci-fi
came
show
back.
is Haven.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And that is one of the best horror-based science fiction TV shows in that like era of the 2000s. I highly recommend if you can get a chance to look at that. Absolutely.
I knew about it,
now,
but I've never
you know,
watched
Right
it.
now, I
I
think
can see-
Roman's about it.
Yeah. Well, I can see Edge going back to TV or back to acting once
Yeah, yeah.
once he settles what he has in the ring, because he said he was ready to retire, and I think now that he's been able to come back, he wants to go out on his own terms.
Yeah.
Another guy you've
think
got
you can
is
see
Samoa
Seth.
Joe.
Yeah, he just did some voiceover work.
Well, not even just voice. Was it just voiceover, or
think it
was
was
he
just voice.
actually live action?
I think it was just the voiceover.
Okay.
What do you mean? You're talking about
He's playing a clown
no,
from a video
Twisted
game.
Metal.
Twisted Metal, thank
He's
you.
the body of
He's
Sweet Tooth.
He's Sweet Tooth.
Somebody
Yeah,
else is the voice.
But they were doing
Okay, so
No, he's the He's going to be
So
the
Wait,
body
who
of.
are they getting to be? That is the perfect voice. Like in my brain, I'm hearing, "Oh, Wendy!" Like that is. Oh my God, I need that.
I could be wrong about this, but I think it's Will Arnett.
Samoa Joe
well.
choke Will Arnett out.
Well,
I could be wrong about that, but I know it's not like a.
I don't care if he's
like a
wrong
tough
about it.
guy
Go find
voice.
Will Arnett and choke him out right now.
stepping back, you also have Sheamus, who has dabbled in acting
Yeah.
as he
Yeah.
went off and did was it Bebop or Rocksteady?
Yeah,
He was
one of
one
the
of
Michael
the-
Bay.
in
Yeah.
one of the
Turtles. He
was-
Turtles movies.
He was Rocksteady, I believe, because he was the rhinoceros.
Whichever the pig
Yeah,
was.
I don't remember. I
Bebop's
remember
the pig.
No,
Rocksteady's
Bebop.
the
Bebop
rhinoceros.
was I can't remember the guy's name, but he was a black guy.
Look, I've never actually seen the
in the
movie,
movie.
so
I haven't seen the movies either, but I
Consider
remember
yourself
seeing
lucky.
them.
but
That's what y'all are for.
Yeah,
I mean, I knew what kind of quality I was getting when I saw Sheamus.
yeah.
there's going to be other guys that come up, and there's going to be guys that we just don't know.
Like, I mean, I could see Seth Rollins doing it at some point.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Well, I
He's
don't
got
know
the-
if
he's
like
got the look that he could be an actor.
I don't.
I don't think
Seth
anybody's
Rollins
ever
has
going to
no
be
drive.
like there's not going to be another Batista,
No.
John Cena, Rock.
Not anytime soon.
None of those because they don't want anybody to be bigger than the company.
And
ever.
even
But
even
that's
if
just WWE. There's
Right.
AEW.
But I
now
don't think
who.
really.
But
In AEW, I can't see. Most of them are in it for I want to be a wrestler, not I want this to be a springboard to a greater thing.
even
It's
even
still
if
early in AEW though, give it some time, and let Tony say, "Hey, I need to make a little extra money on the side."
I mean, who knows
I-
what'll
I think
happen?
it
I don't
happens.
see it happening, but who knows?
I can see MJF doing it.
Yeah,
well,
That's a
I mean,
big
he's not
promo.
going to work in wrestling for a while, so who knows?
yeah, yeah.
even if they had the opportunity to be built up like
Sasha
Cena,
Banks. Like
Sasha
Sasha Banks.
Sasha Banks is
Yeah.
the only Mandalorian.
Like she's
How
already
have
been
we
the
gotten this far
Mandalorian.
and
yeah.
not mentioned?
But
Sasha Banks?
even with those opportunities, even if they were pushing somebody, it takes 5 to 10 years really for them to get somebody because they pushed Roman for a while before he got to the level that he's at now.
They
I
they
would
pushed
argue-
Roman to their own detriment.
I would
Very
argue
true.
that at
It
this
took
point,
cancer.
Roman, I was about to say Roman wouldn't be where he was today if he didn't get cancer again.
That's fair.
Yeah,
Because
he did.
him-
yeah.
I want to point out
Yeah.
the again.
yeah.
Right.
because him coming out and cutting that promo where he says, "Look, I'm coming out here to talk to you as Joe. Which
Yeah.
is his real name. I got leukemia. All right, I'm stepping away."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That
And also-
definitely was what
That right
pushed him over.
there.
But now let's talk about something that cuts against what at least WWE's been doing. That was not written. Like you could feel 100% that's his words.
He was
coming out of
allowed to
his
say
mouth,
that.
allowed to
Well,
be able to talk to people.
But also
in a
because of his
natural way.
position in the
When
company
Roman
too,
Reigns is
though.
allowed to cut a promo, he's really good.
Right.
He's scripted. He says things like "suffering succotash."
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
WWE has had a history of that, though, of letting those guys, Edge.
because
when
they
he
let
does-
the old people do the scripts.
but
Well,
when they
now
let-
that may be changing. So
Yeah.
When they let Edge go out to do his retirement speech, you could feel the emotion behind that. Daniel Bryan, when he did his retirement speech.
Mark Henry when he did his.
Yeah.
And then it was
Like-
all a lie.
If you're a top guy,
that I
that's-
think is the exception that kind of proves the rule because like you've got to be like they're
you have to be a top guy for that.
well besides all that like if you're going out there and you're giving your retirement I'm hanging this up and I can't do this anymore if somebody hands you a script for that they're a monster and we do have monsters who have been and are running the WWE but I don't think we
Kennedy McMahon.
I don't think we
Like 2 weeks before
Chris
the
Benoit.
incident.
yeah.
yeah. Oh, man.
Wasn't it the week before?
It was
2
2 weeks.
weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah, I
two
knew it
weeks.
was before. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks before because the week after is when Stephanie came out and they had the whole "My dad's dead." Brr.
Oh yeah,
And
didn't
the
they
next
have like a
Monday on
funeral
Raw-
or something
Yeah,
on Raw?
The next
Okay,
Monday
yeah.
on Raw is when Vince walked out and was like, "Yeah, here's this stuff about Chris Benoit and how awesome he was." And then like halfway through the thing,
But
they
taking it all, taking it
Yeah.
all
Just
away
like-
for one
just like
day.
halfway
used that
through
Just
song.
Raw-
one day.
That song.
Halfway through that Raw is when they found out that, this wasn't like an accident.
Yeah.
He wasn't great at all.
No.
No.
Because you can watch like the beginning promos that were cut by the people just talking about how they that I couldn't believe that this happened.
They had
hopefully
picnics
find out what's
together,
going
it was
on.
all the-
yeah. And then towards the end where they're just like, I don't want to talk about this.
No,
anymore.
and then the promo's like, Chris Benoit was a wrestler.
Yeah.
He wrestled very good,
Yeah.
and now he is dead.
Yeah.
And
Also,
being dead
Nancy
dead.
is dead. We are very sorry for you.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to take a pause here real quick. You got something you want, or are you just listening?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean we can call this a break right now.
Yeah, we can
Yeah,
break
yeah,
for
yeah.
about
It
5
looked
minutes.
like you wanted to say something.
Editor of this, break.
Yeah. And then when we come back, we can move to the next topic.
Move next topic. Yep.
There we go. All right. So is that all we had to say about the crossover between wrestling on TV and wrestling in movies?
I think we could go on for several more hours.
We
but
could.
We don't want to do that.
I
so
do want.
think
I want
it's
to
about
mention
time we
something that has
pass.
nothing to do with that, but a little bit to do with it. The WWE did make a movie that wasn't wrestling related at all, with no wrestlers, and it was called Oculus. And it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Karen Gillan's.
Oh,
in
okay.
It's
I have heard good things
fantastic.
about that.
Yeah.
That's their like one non-wrestler movie that they've done.
So what you're saying is that was a movie that was like no wrestlers, no relation.
Just a
So that would
movie.
be something that would be perfect for Silence Your Cellphones to talk.
Oh, there's a segue for you.
Oh,
Segue.
segue brought to you by
That was
Segways.
very smooth. Thank
When
you.
you need a segue.
I'm expecting to
Segway.
see that episode.
Segway is brought to you by Chivas Regal, 12-year aged.
There we go.
Yeah, so we are going to kind of piggyback off that idea. So our topic is, why can't fandoms, things that aren't, I guess fandoms, not movies, so no Star Wars, no Star Trek, things like video games, books, why do they not transition well to films?
Fandoms from other media.
Yeah, fandoms from other medias. Why does there always seem to be a disconnect between it's either not good enough for the fandom or not good enough for the average Joe? And so why is it so hard to find a
And
happy
sometimes
I think
both.
it's twofold there. I think it's twofold. It's not good enough for the fandom because fandoms have unrealistic expectations.
Yes.
And they refuse to adjust that to what is possible. And then you have it directed or produced or the money from people who don't know and don't understand. And so they meddle.
Yeah, when it becomes just to be a profit motive, like that can be a big thing because
That honestly makes me think of something that several years ago now,
Warcraft?
you and I went and saw Warcraft.
Yes.
yeah.
You know,
I've also seen that.
I played the video game. You know, I like the game, right? Now that may be a dangerous thing to say in today's climate with Activision and everything, but still like it.
I mean, but it's a
can like
20-year-old game. You're allowed to like
You can like
something
the game and hate the
before the
company,
bad
like
stuff
Jared.
happened.
Jarrett wasn't a Warcraft guy.
No.
Right? So we went and saw this, you know, and that was what, 10 years ago almost now?
close to
Probably,
it, probably.
close, yeah.
So like Medivh pops up on the screen, and my brain, I know exactly who that is. I go, I'm Medivh, and I'm like, okay, cool, I know what's going on here. And Jarrett's going, what? Who is that? Because they didn't explain anything. It was that movie was geared toward the fan. And that movie bombed like a motherfucker.
In
It was-
the United
Yeah,
States.
It made a lot of money in
China
China.
did amazing.
China made all its money back and then some.
Yeah, but the U.S., it bombed like crazy. And I think it was because they were betting on just their fandom. You know, they're looking at it going, World of Warcraft has 12 million subscribers. If everybody went and saw it, we'll be fine. Yeah, well, not everyone went and saw it, and the rest of the world was just like,
Nah.
I'm going to
Yeah.
pass on
They
this
also went out of their way
barely
to
passable CGI movie.
explain that it wasn't based off of the MMO and it was based off the original Warcraft
Because it was
game.
Warcraft, not World of Warcraft.
Right,
It was
not
it was
World of
based off
Warcraft,
the
just
original-
Warcraft.
Well, it was based off of like Warcraft 3.
Yeah.
Right,
But-
right.
If you have fans of the MMO, World of Warcraft, and they didn't go back to play Warcraft 3, Warcraft, do they care or do they want to see the characters?
All the characters are crossover.
But do they want to see the stories that they know transferred to film?
I mean, I did. I would have wanted to see the story of
At least some of it, I would imagine.
But
But
that
you
is
being a Warcraft fan, like, would you have been okay if the studio took the time to, like,
craft new canon.
well, not even craft new canon, but like spoon feed
Yeah.
people like me? Because I think that's the biggest
would've
disconnect.
been
Is like,
fun.
Yeah,
people walk in with all of the knowledge, and they don't want to see the origin of Spider-Man.
It's a tight balance that you have to do with
It would
that
have been
that
okay
most people don't do.
if it would bring more people into the fandom as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Like I am not a gatekeeper guy, right?
Same.
Yeah.
You know, that's just not it. You know,
Look at the
fandoms
success.
die when people don't join.
Look at the success of Lord of the Rings. There's has a fandom that was very loud and vocal.
Yeah.
They did very well with the original Lord of the Rings movie.
And even at that, you had
They took a lot of liberties with that original story too, though, to make that movie work.
You still have
But
people out
also-
there yelling because Tom Bombadil's not in it, and he should have been in it because Tom Bombadil is awesome.
You can't see this. Mike and I are across the room. I'm high-fiving him as hard as I can for the Tom Bombadil. Where are you, Tom? Let me at least say that. That being said, there was a love for that material from Peter Jackson.
Very true.
The production and direction was done from a sense of love and craftsmanship, and again, a large amount of money that was put in by
Everybody
Warner Bros.
who was involved in that had this love for that
Well,
product.
there's the budget thing, but then you got to understand that, like, and it was said on an episode of Travelers, not a lot, like the book itself was not easy to read.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
a lot of
Yeah, it's very difficult to
so
read.
like people who,
They had to make interpretations on a lot of that.
people who, yeah. Bring it around.
Somebody listen
fans.
to our
Listens to our
podcast,
podcast.
guys.
I think the problem.
Jolkin,
Rolkin.
I think the problem with Warcraft, specifically this movie, is the same problem you have with G.I. Joe. Hold on. They based the movie off of characters, not off of story, because the G.I. Joe movies are based off of action figures, not off of the cartoon, in case you didn't know.
Yeah.
So I think they based Warcraft off of the character designs and maybe a little bit of lore, and that's it. And the people that made that movie had no idea what they were doing.
I don't think like Duncan Jones knew anything about Warcraft before he signed on to
And ultimately, I think
to make
that's
that
what you
movie.
run into, especially when you talk like say video games, Resident Evil, Silent Hill,
Mortal Kombat.
any of those.
Oh my gosh.
You've got this.
That's like a better.
There is a
And
generation
it was
gap.
still trash.
Yeah, I don't know why video games can't.
With that, I think there's the
problem
I think it
interactivity.
depends.
To me, it's the interactivity of video games that kind of pushes.
He's in it for me. Like, you are the hero. Like you're you're Link or you're Mario. No, you are the one taking the actions. You are the character that's on that screen is a stand-in for you. So when you see someone else doing that character that you've been, there's a disconnect. I'm going to use a line from Red Letter Meter. You don't see it. Your brain does. And that's where it starts getting muddled up. Because it's interactive, because there's interactivity there.
I think it's even simpler than that, really.
Okay.
I think it is just the fact that the younger generation, and you know what? I want to include us in there, even though, Jody's pushing 50, me and Jay are over 40. Michael's getting older. I make fun of him about being middle-aged all the time.
When I started the podcast, I was 32.
32.
I was not
Yeah,
middle-aged.
you're middle-aged now.
I'm 35. I'm middle-aged now.
So we grew up on video games. We grew up playing those video games. The people with the money at the studios did not.
Yes.
So what they're doing, you have scripts, you have ideas coming from these people saying, hey, this video game's, it's taking off. Let's say they made a Fortnite video game, right?
They did make a Fortnite video game.
I mean, a Fortnite movie. My bad. They make a Fortnite movie, and they're like, this video game is, it's millions downloaded and hundreds of $1,000s a day are being spent on it. We should make a movie on this as a tie-in. And somebody with the purse strings is going to be like, we should. How can we make it make money? Well, here's what Fortnite's about. And they're going to go, well, that's rubbish. It should be about a 1990s action star who... But they're going to slap the Fortnite name on it.
Yeah.
It's going to have nothing to do with anything with Fortnite. And kids are going to be excited. Oh, my God, Fortnite movie. They're going to go see it once, and then it's just going to get panned. Right?
Now,
And then they're never going to do something like that again.
But see,
Right.
there's the path out there to be successful. When you look at the Marvel movies and what they did,
there is that.
where the fan, you can tell that the creators of that were fans and they cared deeply about Iron Man.
That's why it works.
Yeah.
Kevin Feige
Right.
Kevin
loves
Feige.
Marvel
Yeah.
and loves. I would also say comic book culture, but just with Marvel because that's the only thing
Same
he
thing
can
with
head
Paul,
up.
bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And so they went out there, they did the care, they did the love, they found the perfect casting and took a risk on it for Iron Man.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was pre-Disney too.
that was pretty good.
Yeah.
And Robert Downey Jr. was still kind of the
Out of
hey,
rehab.
Yeah, his biggest
Some kind
movie
of a
at that
person
time,
named Grotto.
like his beginning of the maybe comeback was Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Like that's great movie.
I'd like to say one thing real quick, going back because we kept going for a minute there. I think the first and only the first, I like them all, but they're mostly bad. But I think the first Resident Evil movie was good because they didn't use really any of the characters from the video game because you didn't have that disconnect.
Well, now Resident Evil isn't even. Have you guys watched the show?
I haven't watched the
Oh,
show.
that show
It's
is
literally.
Jesus
it's
Christ.
not even Resident Evil anymore. It's the same thing
Right.
that he just said. It's
Right.
some weird zombie show that they slapped Resident Evil on.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I would watch it because I like
Right.
the games.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I kind of
The Halo TV series.
yeah. Oh man.
Yeah,
Red
I stopped
versus
watching
Blue.
when they took off Master Chief's helmet. As soon as I saw
There
his
are
face,
whole episodes he's not wearing a helmet.
That is not the way.
I was like,
No,
I
no,
get
no, no.
the actor wanting.
You gotta do it like Dredd. He does not take the helmet off.
Yes, like Carl Urban could have so for Good Lord, I'm losing my goddamn mind. For Dread.
Dread.
He could have insisted at any time to say, I would really like a scene where, like, I take my helmet off and, like, you can see the pathos and emotion in my face. And he said, no, I'm not doing that. Dread always wears a fucking helmet.
Yeah.
It's always what you see in the character is what connects it to that. And it works.
Yeah.
It just worked. Someone who understood what the fuck was going on with that character
You have to take, like,
was helming that character.
I think that the best things that make those transitions well, even though Dredd didn't make any money.
So underrated, though.
Yeah, it's incredibly underrated.
He's a good actor,
but
too.
Like it finds like the essence of what this property is, and then kind of discards what it doesn't need. Like, it doesn't hold everything super sacred like Dredd. They let's boil this down to the essence of Dredd just going through an apartment building, a huge apartment building. Like,
what was the Korean film that was
The Raid?
The Raid. Yeah.
They kind of did that. I haven't looked up to how much. I think that they were actually in production around the same time. So, but
the biggest thing is Hollywood doesn't. They have to make their mark, and you can look at movies that should be successes just based off of the fandoms that are already movie properties. Let's look at Godzilla and what they did with Godzilla in 96,
They turned Godzilla around.
Was it
Yeah.
96, 98? And
they messed up
it
so
was-
bad that
Yeah.
Toho did a movie where they killed that Godzilla.
Final Wars.
Yeah,
And-
Final Wars, yeah.
So
They
then you
refused to
get-
call him Godzilla. They called him Zilla.
Yeah.
Then you get Legendary taking it over, and it's okay. It's good. You get to see monsters fighting.
The first
and
movie
great.
was mad. I love King of the Monsters.
I love King.
Yeah, I have to- I have to
didn't
agree.
Like
My
Godzilla
only-
versus Kong as much. but I
Godzilla
love-
versus Kong
I love
was
King of the
was
Monsters.
fine.
Well, yeah, I
liked
mean,
it,
like,
but I
it
didn't
was
love
unbelievable because, Kong had to get his powers from Godzilla.
Yeah.
He had to be powered up from Godzilla's abilities.
So I would ask you guys this question: do you think that the studios are getting better, or are they still trash? Or are they, where do you think it is? Because you can point at things like The Boys, comic book turned into a show.
Sonic was
really
good. Like the Sonic movie, the
But
first Sonic
was
movie.
apparently
Sonic was
pretty decent.
only good because of the fandom.
The fandom
Right.
kinda
If
made
Sonic would have,
Oh
if
yeah,
Sonic would
they
have
had
been
the
the studio
that
property
original
we were gonna get-
Nightmare
Sonic was
Fuel
Nightmare Fuel.
character.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
got an ugly Sonic like Chip and Dale.
Yeah.
right.
Apparently that movie
It's
is
fantastic.
decent.
I liked
that.
I liked it a
I've heard
lot.
such
I
good
liked
things.
it.
And that's an
Yeah,
A24
I've heard
film?
decent things.
Yeah, it is an
That's an
A24.
A24 film, and I
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
did
Chip and
not
Dale's
expect
Rescue
that.
Rangers.
Yeah,
The man to my right, Mr. I'm going to pretend you're not your Jody, even though you're jail.
sure.
But Jody Kight on Travelers on the Omnibus gave a wonderful review of that, and yeah, like that's a good movie.
Well,
that's a solid
They
movie.
they made the right choices in there. The characters like were actors in the original cartoon show, and Dale got a CGI upgrade,
to try to
so
fit
it
in.
explains CGI in the universe of the Chip and Dale's movie.
That trailer did nothing to sell.
No, the trailer's awful. The trailers are
I saw that
100%
and I was just
awful.
like, my Disney afternoons are ruined.
What's a worse trailer, that trailer or The Munsters?
Monsters.
Rob
Monsters.
Zombie's
Monsters.
Rob
The Monsters,
Zombie's
hands
Monsters. does
that
not
literally
work.
Oh
looked
my
like they
God.
pissed Technicolor
That is-
everywhere.
The funny thing is we actually almost pitched. We were talking about what we're going to discuss today, and we almost talked about trailers and
How they affect your viewing experience.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that would have been good.
that's definitely a good
I had
topic for
strong-
sure.
Yeah.
Like how they lied to you about the Exorcism Emily Rose because it's a courtroom drama, not a horror movie.
Or like how I didn't want to see the second
Right.
trailer for Nope because it told me what the basic plot of the
that's-
movie
that's-
was.
But it doesn't.
It doesn't, but it told me more than I knew. I found out everything I wanted to know from the first Nope
You've
trailer.
seen
yeah,
it, right?
I watched it.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
I loved it.
That's
Or
why.
how the
I like
original
this better, but
the original trailer for Alien 3 ends with a shot of Earth, and when the movie comes out, Earth's never in
Nope.
it. Just never in it.
There are so many trailers though that do that. Kind
oh
of
yeah,
shit.
they're really
You get,
well.
you get cutting room floor stuff in the trailer, and you go see the movie, and it's like,
Well, I think most of the people who watched the
Doesn't
original
exist.
Suicide Squad watched it because of the trailer.
Yeah.
like they thought the trailer was awesome. But that's
Or you can
and-
go with the philosophy
I
of
would
the
say that
original
most-
of the Quarantine movie when it came out. Spoilers for a 20-year-old movie. We're going to show in the trailer the final scene of the movie.
the poster for the movie is going to be.
Has the final scene of the movie in it.
and how
Yes.
can you deny the Morbius trailer?
I was excited for
Kind of want to go see
was.
it.
Here's how I deny it. I take my two fingers and form a cross, and I go,
I
bad
thought it was
Morbius.
Jared Leto's
Bad
redemption
Morbius.
arc, and it just
Like
did not
Morbius
happen.
was kind of a cool comic.
Man, y'all are.
I like
really
the Midnight
optimistic.
Suns. The Midnight
tried to
Suns was
be.
cool.
You know?
But I guess to circle back, I think we're still in this like weird 50-50
Yeah.
stage of
Definitely.
it because there's some really good stuff out there, like The Boys, but then there's Uncharted,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which
I haven't seen that.
Well,
you've played the games. Or,
I played the first one.
He's literally played the
Recently.
game recently.
okay, well,
Yeah.
that's, if you've played the game recently, I would say watch it because they kind of jumble all three. Because the way the games play out, they do kind of flashback jump. So I wasn't as upset with that.
Sure.
But I think it goes back to the Marvel point. Whoever was directing it had zero interest in the material because you could see Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg not care on screen.
They were phoning it in.
If their jokes weren't hitting, they didn't care.
They
It was
didn't care.
a paycheck move.
That's also could be
For
bad
them.
direction though, because I mean, like you know, you accept those takes and you move
I
on.
would argue that is exclusively bad direction.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
well, you're
think
talking about two guys that are talented.
Yeah.
And I would go on further. That is the epitome of miscasting.
Yeah.
Like I think of Nathan Drake. I think of someone like
Well, Uncharted
Nathan
Uncharted was
Fillion,
in
something like that.
production so long that Mark Wahlberg was gonna be Nathan Drake, and then he
Yeah.
aged out and he became
believe it.
We
Sully.
had a Nathan.
But then
Fillion
he
reference.
like, if you wanted a good Sully, they should have gotten J.K. Simmons' fucking number and
Yeah.
fucking, hey, we need you to play Sully from the Uncharted. It would have been, it would have
Yeah.
fucking worked.
But,
it 100% fucking worked.
I think the difference is if you have somebody who's a studio head going, oh, we have this property, let's make some money off of it, get whatever, or you have somebody like, I think when it comes to stuff like The Boys, you know, it was somebody going, hey, I really like this property, let me do something with it, and
Well,
pitching it.
specifically Eric Kripke, because
Yeah.
he's the showrunner over there, and like 20,000 seasons of Supernatural.
Yeah,
It
you
should have
have a-
ended at 5, but that's a whole other fucking description.
You have
But
a difference.
The man knows what he likes and can portray and put on what people
Yeah,
will like.
there's
from
a
it.
difference when you have somebody from the bottom up or from the top down.
We've talked about it, and it might have been on the last couple of podcasts. But when do fandoms finally step up and say, "We're just not going to see the movie"? Because the problem is, if I'm the studio head and I see Uncharted makes $100 million opening
Money
weekend,
talks.
that's a success, and so I will continue to make cookie cutter bad movies. Because fandoms are going to go see it because
are
they're
weird nowadays,
Because
though,
they're
'cause sometimes
I think,
$100
I think you
million
guys
isn't.
mentioned this on Silence also too. Is like you hear that they will sometimes listen very brief. Okay, you want this art house like amazing fucking. Okay, we'll give you the Eternals. We'll give you something that's not in the regular Marvel fucking mold.
Oh, you didn't like it.
People didn't like
I
it.
love the Eternals.
Didn't make enough
Right,
money. I love
right,
the Eternals.
right,
I thought they
right.
did a really good job with it.
I like
But
different
We gave you
when it comes
this
to Marvel.
thing, and you didn't like it. So okay, yeah, like
Yeah.
your,
That's
your,
what-
do-
that's
your
what worried
dollars
me the
and your
most.
and your voice
Dumped on
talks.
the Eternals, so we'll give you Thor: Love and Thunder, and we'll continue to give you Thor: Love and Thunder every movie.
Fan
And
service.
because we made. Sorry,
I was gonna say I truly believe they made or wrote Love and Thunder as a direct response to what people were saying about
or changed
the
it
Eternals.
before they went into production for it because of it.
The answer to your question of when will the fandom step up or will the fandom step is they're not going to. They're not. I mean, you look at Star Wars right now, and everybody is just mad over Obi-Wan. It was an okay show. It wasn't the best. I hate that he went, spoilers, to rescue Leia.
Well,
Because it doesn't make sense in what we know about
It
the
wasn't
rest of the
necessary.
series.
It wasn't a story that anybody was asking to be told. But
that being
no
said-
Star Wars story right now is really being asking to be told anyway.
That is very
Fans
true.
Like to complain. Like,
Yeah,
I think when
That-
fandoms don't have
There
anything
is.
to complain about,
I wanted to talk.
100%.
There is a nowadays there is a problem that we have in fandom that is this sense of entitlement of we deserve this or we deserve that. I can speak of one of my experiences where I had to, because like, okay, before Game of Thrones came out, I read the books and I was super excited. Like I got HBO because they said Game of Thrones is coming out. But when it was on the screen, like a lot of things were the same, but then things were different and things that I really wanted to see in there. And I would get like upset about it, and I finally had to go, well, no, look, because some of the stuff that they change is actually really good. Like some of the stuff that they change isn't exactly what I like, but you can't have everything. Like I had to literally retrain my brain to accept that some things will be different. This is not just they can't just put the book onto the screen. Like things will be different.
Yeah, books are hard.
Yeah.
Talking about fandom too, there, I think we saw that in Star Wars recently.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Episode 8 was just shit all over by the fans, and Episode 9 was, oh, you just want the same shit again? Here you go.
I know.
They also
I know
didn't
the
have a
Travelers
plan for
talked
those
about
three
it. We
movies.
asked
For sequel
wanted something
trilogies,
new.
we wanted
Yeah.
something after Episode 6, and that's
Yeah.
what we got. And then it wasn't what we
Yeah.
wanted. Even though
Well,
we said, and you
I
said
think
about
the
the prequel trilogy, we asked for something before.
Yeah.
Episode 4.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
And I think the exception too, was comparing what Disney had been doing with Marvel. We thought we were going to get some sort of like story arc that was going to make sense. Because, in my personal opinion, 9's not a real movie. It's just a series of coincidences, and there's like a lot of them. And actually, there's a lot more in Force Awakens.
Right.
But I think that we expected Marvel-like quality to these Star Wars, sequels, and we didn't get them. And I don't think that's the fans' fault.
Right.
I think
That's how I feel about it.
If you tell me that you're going to have a trilogy, I expect you to have a coherent story across that trilogy.
Yeah, Star Wars
Yeah.
isn't
That's
the
what
one
happens
where
when
you
have
want to.
3 different
It's
directors.
a
Yeah, you don't want to have an experiment where you're like, we're going to have like people have creative control over Star Wars. It's going to be a fun time. Do that for TV shows.
The greatest thing Marvel and Disney ever did, and this kind of goes back to your Game of Thrones thing, was when Iron Man came out, they said, this is not the comic book world. We are telling our stories. There will be similar events like Civil War. So once they just straight up said, hey, it's going to be a little different, roll with it,
And
they took off the...
I think the attachment to that too is, let's be fair here. Iron Man was not exactly a super well-known character
At that
in
time,
pop
he was
culture at
not
that time.
like he was barely in.
Yeah, they didn't have
Leadership
the rights
roles
to
in the-
X-Men. They
Right.
didn't have the rights to Spider-Man. They didn't have the rights to
Fantastic Four,
the Fantastic Four stuff.
Daredevil,
So they had to
any of those.
They technically
kinda
didn't have the
dig.
rights to the Hulk because that was Universal, and
Yeah.
they pretty much have their own character on lease from Universal.
They kind of had to dig. So they get to the Iron Man stuff that like,
We would have never
wasn't
gotten
super popular.
Iron Man, Thor.
We would never gotten Guardians if we would have had
definitely
all
wouldn't.
those other
'Cause
properties.
Before Guardians,
Never.
like nobody knew. I think I was the only person who was excited for a Guardians of the Galaxy.
Because that was
movie.
Fox, right?
With Iron Man, they went and they
Was-
made it
and for what?
relatively
They originally had
realistic.
like Iron Man and all that. Was that Fox?
No, they never had Iron Man.
It was.
They never had
No,
Iron Man.
nobody had
Fantastic
Iron Man.
Four.
Nobody leased them out.
Did Iron Man come straight from Disney?
Iron Man, no.
No, Iron
was
Man came from Marvel Studios.
Marvel still owned the Iron Man property.
It wasn't
I
long
think
after Iron Man.
Universal
Marvel bought-
was I think with Universal was the distributor. I'm not sure on that.
Yeah,
one.
so one of the things I wanted to say was another thing that Marvel has done, because mistakes have been made, and a lot of the fans have been upset. But you'll see them go back and say, like with the Mandarin, right? You'll see them go back and say that really wasn't like the real Mandarin, right? But they corrected themselves
Yeah.
a couple of times to make fans happy.
But the corrections didn't happen immediately. Like it wasn't like, okay, Iron Man 3, Guy Ritchie's the Mandarin.
Well,
what
no,
the fuck?
actually, like right after that, they did a little short telling that he wasn't the Mandarin. But
But at the same time, it wasn't baked into like the next movie didn't say, oh, and by the way, the Mandarin isn't real.
You had
like,
to
they didn't
like
immediately try to
that was a hard to
correct it
find.
in
That
the
was actually a
movies,
hard
yeah.
to find short for some
Yeah.
reason. So it wasn't like super easy. But that is they I think I'm like one of the 5 people who actually was okay with that twist. But that's neither here nor there.
I was okay with it, and I'm okay with the fact that Shang-Chi has the Mandarin in it.
Oh yeah, we got
Like,
Tony
it-
Leung.
like- Yeah,
Way better.
I'm very happy that we don't have like a Fu Manchu caricature
Yes.
that is more insulting than it is provocative.
Yeah.
Like
Because let's be fair, that's what the Mandarin
yeah,
is.
Yeah.
the man.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
So, we've talked a lot about the video game aspect. We talked a bit about comic books. Books as a whole. I think that's been an argument that's been going on since movies were a thing.
Oh, yeah.
As far as, the book versus the movie.
Well, and the answer, in my opinion, for that is books have more freedom.
They do.
Because-
And like, going to be kind of my thought with it was I can sit and read a book for 5 pages that describes a character or describes a location or something like that. In a movie, I see it.
Yeah.
You know, my eyes go, oh, okay, that's a green hill and a meadow with the trees and blah, 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 where I had to read 5 pages worth of them describing the tree and describing
some of the difference, I think, is also books, I think, out of everything that we've talked about are probably the thing that gets made into movies the most out of all of these. But until we got to like the young adult phase craze, like they didn't have fandoms. Like nobody, there weren't crowds of fans to go see The Godfather or when Lolita came out. Or
there weren't
anything.
crowds to see The Godfather because of the book.
Right.
Right.
And why Lolita?
I don't
wait,
know.
What?
I was thinking of Stanley Kubrick.
Okay. I would say this, because I think one of the things where Michael had started off with talking about unreasonable expectations. Reading a book is a very personal experience. It is an exceedingly personal experience. Like, for instance, just a little thought experiment here. I'm going to throw out a word. That word is alone. I just want you to think about that word for a moment. Every person here has a similar idea, but not the same idea of what alone might necessarily be. Like, where does alone take place? Like, what is that? Like, are you in a crowd of people, but are you feeling alone? There are certain ways that words are defined generally, but specific to that person, it's their interpretation of it. So when you have like 10,000 words that are being interpreted by one person, you can't get that perfectly on the screen, or if you do, it's perfect for that one person and absolutely nobody else.
And I think that's the difference. Also, is for an example, you have novellas, which all the H.G. Wells movies were turned into books were turned into movies very well because first off, those were they're like 150 pages, pretty much direct translation from book to movie, no problem whatsoever. And then you have novels that are like 800. 1,200 pages. There is stuff in some of Stephen King's books that never make it to screen.
No,
they cut out whole arcs of weird stuff that happened in it for reasons.
No.
Okay. And also the part in the first part.
That scene.
The friendly get together.
Yeah.
So Brady brought up Lolita. I mean,
the thing with
You do know the guy in that's the bad guy. Like it's not a book about saying, hey, this is really cool. No, he's supposed to be the bad guy. You're not supposed to like him at the end.
So with books, when we talk about this a lot on our podcast, we talk about expectations, like viewer expectations going into a film. Mm-hmm. With book adaptations, I think readers of whatever the book is, Harry Potter, Aragon, whatever book has been made into a movie, should also tamper expectations. Because
Definitely with a book.
With books, it's like you were saying, like essentially that if I read a book and you read a book, we have different ideas of what people.
Oh yeah, you
look
both
like,
hallucinated
how
different
they
things
talk.
in your head.
Yeah,
That's just two people.
Yeah.
Now you multiply that, thousandfold,
Thousands.
right? And it's completely different. It's like the whisper game.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's a perfect way to. I think it can be done where you can make a good movie from a book.
Yeah.
Because it's been done before. But I think readers need to tamper expectations.
Well,
yeah,
we talked about it because I don't know if any of you guys saw where the Crawdads sing.
Oh yeah,
that
it was a good film.
There's not even a Hollywood consensus of what makes a good book movie, because there were critics that completely dogged that because it was too true to the book. They didn't take enough movie liberties. So
Right.
It's like, if it's too close to the book, if the dialogue is too book-like, what makes a good book?
It's a damned if you do, damned if you
adaptation.
If it's a
don't.
page-for-page representation of the book and it's still not good enough,
Yeah.
then what are we even trying to do? But if you take
I think
away too much of it,
adaptations,
it's not good enough.
like you want to hit the core audience of if you're a fan of this novel, we're going to try and stay close to it, maybe take a little bit of liberty, but you also have to make it a wider audience, to be able to make money off of it, depending if it's an art house movie or if you're trying to win an Oscar.
I think the thing that has to be done is you have to stay true to your source material. It doesn't have to be exact.
the spirit.
I've read that story, right? I've read the Lord of the Rings book. I've read Game of Thrones. I've read Sandman. on and on and on ad infinitum, right? Stay true to the source material. Feel free to change it some.
Yeah, like I was talking.
I would say don't get crazy.
Core, but
Yeah, the soul of the characters and things like that. You know, you don't want to change too much.
We've been discussing the Sandman, right? Coming out in next week, actually. Next week.
Yeah.
On Netflix, the show, and several months ago when they started announcing the cast and they were drip feeding the cast out, and you get Gwendolyn Christie as Lucifer. Oh my God, the internet exploded. How dare you cast a woman to be
Well, all the alt
Lucifer.
casting, like that one, but also like people were mad that Jenna Coleman was Joanna Constantine.
Yeah, you have Joanna.
They're gonna be calling her
Constantine.
Constantine.
You have.
Whenever I get to say this
Not
real quick,
being-
Brady, you catty bitch. Okay, we can continue.
You have Death not being the pasty white goth girl. You have Lucian as a black lady instead of old British white dude.
Yeah.
And like the internet exploded.
Well, they got
about all
mad
this
because
stuff. How
they
dare you cross this
they
up?
cast a non-binary person as Desire. It's like, did you even read the comic?
Yeah, the comic
specifically-
is so esoteric and open to philosophical conversations. I don't think it matters who plays what character.
Is
And it's exactly-
the person who sees the main character Dream. He is the personification of Dream. They see him differently because he's a different name. Like there's a part in early in the book where he goes to the Justice League because it takes place in the DC universe, and Martian Manhunter sees him, and he sees him as a big face of fire because that's what that's what Dream is.
Because they're all aspects
That's what the
of whatever
idea
you
of Dream
think
is
of.
to
Yeah.
the Martians. So like he sees when he
Well, there's the whole story of Kight.
yeah when he goes to this sees this African queen, they see him as a black man with stars in his eyes. Like that's the whole point of these characters, and that was one of the things. Desire is the personification of desire. So Gaiman even says like no gender is enough for desire because desire wants it all. Like it could never nothing could ever satisfy desire because desire is desire. So
And I think Desire being androgynous is perfect. Because
yeah.
it's
desire is
supposed to
androgynous
match
in
everything.
the
Yeah.
comic.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I think that's like the beauty of Sandman itself. I haven't read it, but if someone said it goes back to, I guess it was a graphic novel, so you did. I guess you saw what his original intent was, but Desire isn't Frodo Baggins. Like it is different to, like you said, dreams are different to everyone. These weren't people. They were, I guess, like
They're entities.
Right.
These-
And
That's
these
why
are-
so many.
they're
Yeah.
The idea is
Their
that
concept, their
that's way
aspects.
easier to gender bend than if like I was watching, if I wanted to watch a movie about Troy and then Achilles was a woman or something like that. Like people who have it,
Or Julius Caesar was an anime.
something like that. Like,
Yeah, well,
like
that's
the Fate
steering it.
series.
So my thing, like, I'll just say quickly on that because, so Dune, my favorite book of all time, Denis Villeneuve's Dune. Liet Kynes in the book is an older white man. In the movie, he is played instead by a I believe middle aged or maybe
She's probably
younger
in her 30s.
black woman. One of the also reasons for that is Zendaya plays Chani, who is Liet Kynes' daughter. You can in the original Dilo De Laurentiis production of it, Max von Sydow was Liet Kynes. In my brain, that makes more sense. However, it does not make sense for Max von Sydow to be the father of Zendaya. Like, how do you get there? And you just in my head, it doesn't make any sense. And then the second part on that is her performance. God, I forgot the actress's name.
She was great.
Like,
That was
a long time.
that
She
was one of
was
my
fantastic.
favorite. Like her at the end there was.
Spoilers. My apologies for the book. The way she dies in the movie is not the way she dies in the book, and to me, it's so much better in the movie. I think
that
they
part
did
in
a
the
way
movie
better
Dare
job
you
of that.
spoil a 60-year-old book?
Well, I did kind of spoil now like a 2-year-old movie.
Well,
so.
I think when it comes to stuff like that, people get bent out of shape for various reasons. Some very obvious. But I think, the question that you should ask as a fan to get over this is that core to the character? Like, Black Panther needs to be black because that's core to his character. I think in my head James Bond should be British because that's him. But like, if he's Idris Elba or Daniel Craig, it doesn't matter to me.
See, I agree with that because if he was like Ryan Reynolds, I would have a fucking problem.
Oh
with that.
yeah. 100%.
Like not if he's not affecting a British accent, if he's not being quintessentially British.
What we
Poor-
get now is we get Ryan Reynolds doing an awful British
Ryan
accent.
Reynolds probably
Yeah.
will. He's in
As
everything.
Deadpool.
Ryan Reynolds or The Rock is going to be the next James Bond
Rock
probably.
is
Ryan Reynolds versus The Rock. I mean, that's what it is.
Then you
Ryan
just
Reynolds
have what's that
as
movie?
Red
That Red
Imagine
Notice
James
or
Bond
whatever.
breaking the fourth
Might be
wall.
Red.
Yes. That would be amazing.
We're just gonna keep getting Red Notice over and over
Yeah,
again.
pretty much because it did make it. It was like one of the most watched movies on Netflix
And
ever.
I
So
think Brady's point there really ties home to what your topic was, right? Why can't this, translate as well? These big fandoms, and it's because I think 100% the fans have a multitude of wrong expectations.
Exactly.
Every fan wants something different, and that's
Yeah.
impossible.
So you guys
That is
have,
impossible.
You guys have sit here and said that you don't mind seeing liberties taken.
yeah,
To an extent, right? Nothing outlandish.
Yeah.
As long as it makes sense.
Yeah.
But
And is performed
So-
well.
Yeah.
That's
That's a
another
big
thing
one,
that's
yeah.
kind of sitting on the table there as
the
well.
person is smart, people are dumb thing, because fans as a whole have all these unrealistic expectations. So when a director or decision maker makes, adjustments or takes liberties, they're offended.
I would say a fan has expectations. Fandoms have unrealistic expectations. I think that's the best way to put that.
I think that's fair.
So there you go.
And it doesn't stop the movies from being bad sometimes, though.
yeah.
Or from being good.
That's true. That's very true.
Denis Villeneuve's Dune. I can't wait for part 2.
Oh yeah, I'm excited
Dune was
about it.
amazing.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it. I wasn't too hot on it the first time I watched it, but the second time I watched it, and the more I think about it,
Again, whoever is his cinematographer and whoever does their special effects, they need 87
Denis
Oscars
Villeneuve
right
is
now.
one of my favorite directors.
Yeah.
Nowadays.
I'm glad I
Like,
watched it with the headphones on, though, because if you don't have stereo surround sound, there's a lot of whispering that happens during some of those scenes, and you cannot hear
Yeah.
anything what's happening unless you have headphones or a stereo surround sound.
Absolutely.
So, I guess we're moving on to Travelers on the Omnibus.
Oh my god. I'm super nervous. I don't know what to do, guys.
So let's see. So we talked about like mass media something,
Yeah.
and you guys talked about like mass media stuff. What do we got here?
So in usual Jay contrarian way, we're going to go with something so narrow focused, but it involves everybody at this table because we've all experienced this in at the very least in the last couple weeks. Some of us as early as last night. This is going to be our science lab, one of our science labs. This is one of the things that we do on Travelers, where we kind of come together and we try to put together something that is modestly scientific in nature as far as the method goes. And the question I put to this table is, can we collectively build a better, or what is the best social deduction game player? Now, setting the stage for people who don't know. Social deduction games are typically two teams, one that is most of the players who have no information, and a select group of players that have very little bit amount of information, and the big group has to suss out the smaller group before that smaller group ends up either killing everyone or achieving an objective that they're going for. Popularly, it starts in the 80s with the game Mafia out of Russia that morphs into the game Werewolf. You have other games in the board game sphere, the Resistance. In the video game sphere, if you've not heard of Among Us, what rock have you been living under for the last?
or there's even
2 or 3
Werewolves
years?
Within.
Werewolves Within. I think there's Town of Salem was another game that was also online that is, again, trying to figure out who's the murderers before they murder everybody. Most, at least for this group that I'm sitting with at this table here, Blood on the Clock Tower recently got its final release out of Kickstarter. And we played a lot of games of it last night. We played a lot of games of it really throughout this entire month. And what I would like to sit down again and ask everybody, what in your opinion, what traits make a better social deduction game player?
Knowing which character you actually are.
Okay. Well, no, you say that, but someone who didn't know who he was just completely nailed it for everybody.
Yeah. He didn't know he was lying, so therefore he wasn't lying.
I will. Let me bounce off that commitment. If you have to commit to the truth and you have to commit to the lie, and if you waver at anything, people around you will not trust you. You have to believe your shit, whether it's the truth or the lie or not, to the point where you have to believe your own lie, or else you're not going to be able to sell it to everybody.
Yeah. because of the nature of one of the things that you have to be able to do, especially if you get the negative role that's trying to beat all the other players, you have to know how to lie. Like, you have to be able to do that. If you're not a good liar, you're not going to be a good social deduction player. Possibly. It depends on the game. Some games, I think, the Resistance, maybe you could get away with not being as great a liar, but a lot of times, like, you have to be able to at least tell an untruth every once in a while. Unless you always are the villager and werewolf or the good guys in the Resistance or whatever like that. But yeah,
I think to piggyback off that a little bit, comes charisma. I think
Charis-
it's
That's
the
something.
ability to
charisma helps a lot.
yeah, to sway the party in your favor.
That's what I was going to say. You have to be a seller.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be able to convince yourself of something, and then convince somebody else of that same thing. 100%.
It's like playing a bard in D&D.
Yeah.
But also on the other hand, you know, if you happen to get on the team that's the quote unquote usual good team, you have to be able to sell as well. Like, it's not just, you know, selling a bunch of BS. You have to be able to sell what you believe. You know, if you are trying to figure out who's the werewolf, you know, you have to be able to convince somebody, I think that person is the werewolf.
Sell your narrative.
Because you will get that person voted off or whatever the thing is more likely if you are able to actually give good reasoning of that.
You have to be able to listen.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, listening and paying attention. That's why.
Know your balance between being that out front, confident, I'm running this game, talking, and sitting back and actually paying attention to what other people do. Because, I mean, let's be real here. The greatest majority of people can't lie. They don't know how. You know, you're taught from a young age to, you know, you better tell the truth, you know. Whether you tie it into religion or you tie it into being punished or you tie it into whatever, the greatest majority of people want to tell the truth.
Yes.
You know, they want to be part of the group, the social group, right? So most people, when they lie, they're going to do something. They got to tell. I mean, think about it in poker. Think about it in any kind of game like that. You know, they're gonna blink or they're gonna look away. They're not gonna be able to look you in the eye. Stuff like that. You have to be able to pick up on that
Perceptive.
Yeah.
as the good guy or the bad guy.
Well, sometimes like a game of something like Werewolf is won by you paying attention to how people vote and when they vote. Like,
Because you have to be able to pick up on that stuff. Like
You have to be able to read the room.
like I'll put it, you know, with the very first game of Shadows of Blood on the Clock Tower that we played. You know, I was the poisoner. I was the last one on the line, right? And you know, our librarian who thought he was the soldier, he was sitting next to me, and when the person who was the demon said that she was the demon,
she
said she was the soldier, old dude jumps up. That's impossible. I'm the soldier. Blah, 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 blah. And what was happening is we were going around saying who we were. Well, you know, if you're the bad guy, you don't have a good guy token. So because he did that, I just never answered the question. And nobody picked up on it until the very end of that game, and someone went, you never answered that first question.
Well, let me I put a little extra color onto that. The reason why I think that person knew is because not to out anybody, is because they were old friends with you, and then they just realized, wait a minute, something about it. So there's also a meta quality and how to balance the meta. And what I mean is every game eventually, especially games of social deduction, if played with the same people, start developing this story outside of the game.
Ace is the werewolf.
Ace is the werewolf. Our good friend Ace, hope you're doing well, brother. I think you're in Universal right now. Have a good time there. But yeah, it's like I nominate Ace. That literally became just a running meme for the games where it's like he would
One of the guys
immediately be
that played with
nominated.
us went and got a shirt airbrushed
Yeah.
that said, I nominate Ace.
Yeah.
And then stood behind Ace when we first started the game. And there's a picture on Facebook of Ricky pointing at him with the shirt on going, you know, this shit-eating grin. And like Ace was the first one nominated. And that ran from the meta because for like several games in a row, Ace was.
And I mean,
No.
That ran to
and just kind of blend
that ran
into
to a point where Ace wouldn't play it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those do run counterintuitive to the fun of the game because it's like
Ace was always the first one nominated, and everybody would vote to kill him, whether he was a villager or a werewolf. It
At
didn't
least in
matter.
Werewolf,
So Ace didn't get to
you
play
don't
the
even
game.
get to do anything after you're done.
Yeah.
Like, but in the clock tower, you still get to debate and like make your voice heard. But if you're the first one getting voted off, there's really no reason
You just get to sit there and watch,
to do it.
or go play something else.
and especially like with Werewolf, I think now with Ultimate Werewolf Extreme, you can kick it to 99 players. Imagine being in a 99 player game
first one dead.
and you're the first one dead.
Well, yeah, you might as well go home.
And
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
even think
Somebody give
I'd
me my
want to
Switch.
play a 99 player game where I'm the last one.
I want to run
think that would be
one
just
day
as
for the
bad.
sole thing of saying I ran a 99
I was
player
about to ask you, how do
game.
you even proctor a 99 person game?
You've
You
gotta
get
have
it?
help.
Oh no! First of all, there's a notepad in with the extreme. It's like, okay, this is where these people are sitting, and then you write down name what they are, and you just keep going, and you just
werewolf.
like
They come with sheets like that, just in a smaller
Yeah.
one. But yeah, I
Ultimate
imagine
Werewolf
like the big one
is out of Bezier Games, and Ted Alspach I think has done a really good job with the admin of that game. Which
That one's got an app too that'll run it.
that one has an app now, and also it does make things a lot easier. They're still working out a few things that kind of need to be ironed out, but for the most part, they have put a good amount of thought into it. I will say this. This is small off topic, but if you don't have a moderator who knows what they're doing, that game can unravel really goddamn
Yeah,
quick.
yeah,
I think a lot of those social deduction games work that way.
yeah. If it
would
needs
say
a moderator,
that-
you need a good moderator.
And I would say that ties into being a player.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you need to at least have a grasp of what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, whether you know the rules or not, you know, understand the basic principles of the game. If I say, you know, go to sleep, that means put your head down and close your eyes. Don't keep going, what's going on, guys? Don't keep looking around.
There's actually been more than one player here that's done that. Not in this table.
But specifically one player.
Yes.
If you know, if you have a role, a special role, you're not just, you know, random villager B, right? You have a role to do. At least read RTFC, right? That's the magic term, I believe.
Now let's spell it out. Read the fucking card.
Know what you do. Know what your stuff is, so that you're not causing problems in the game. Because with these hidden role games, one screw up,
Oh yeah.
it's not just ruining your turn. It can ruin the whole game. You know, if you say that, you know, if you think you're the werewolf for the whole time and you're waking up at night and the moderator doesn't manage to catch it, well, okay, you've ruined the game.
No.
You know, if you're playing Blood on the Clock Tower and you've got a role that it's a little different in that one because the game master
Yeah,
can
you
kind
can
of
be
mess
lied
with you.
to, but
Yeah.
You know, if you have those issues, it can really become a problem that can ruin it for, and we're talking, you know, 10, 15, 20, 99
Yeah.
players. Imagine getting halfway through a game of Werewolf of 99 players and someone fucks
how
up.
can you fight?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And that-
That's when we really hang the
That,
werewolf.
I think
that leads
the
to the concept of what makes a good player is somebody who is able to not personally attack somebody else in pursuit of winning the game.
Also,
And also
Yeah.
not take the
Having
attack.
a strong
Hold on.
liver.
I have a PS on that one.
And also,
Mike, finish yours up. I'm sorry.
And
man.
also not take those attacks personally. Because that
Oh, that's a big
that
one
can-
in gaming.
that
Period.
can really
there is
sour you on that.
I believe, no pun included, did a review of Blood on the Clock Tower, but they also did kind of a quick history of social deduction games, and they talked about some of the things that you have to deal with in a social deduction game, and the fact that they're, you know, lying is not like Holder said, lying is not something that we usually are taught that is a good thing, but it's something that's not socially permitted, but it's permitted in this specific situation. So you get you get this atmosphere where things that, you know, betraying your friend, you know, isn't normally a cool thing, but it can be okay in the social deduction game situation. Like like one of the guys that we played with, like I lied to him all through a game, was looking him dead in the eyes,
He's got
Yeah,
PTSD from
yeah.
that.
And the
Like,
first
I
thing
swear to
he
God.
walked in with, "Fuck you, Brady." I'm like,
But that was tongue in
yeah,
cheek.
that was,
really,
but
it's
you know,
like-
but
yeah.
it can be, but there is the possibility of when you play a game like this that even though you know it's a game that you can take it because it is this social situation where these things normally wouldn't be cool.
Yeah.
And it depends on, and also depends on how far you. I think also now that I think about it, a really good thing is know how far to push that boundary. Don't go too far. Don't do the. I would say personal attacks are bad. Really be those super sociopathic tendencies. Maybe not do those just to win this game because it is a game. Like we'll talk about these experiences for a while now, but like in the end, it is just a game.
No pun used the term antisocial personality disorder, and I've wanted
Don't bring the outside into the game. It's not like you don't, like you said, don't start taking pot shots like, oh, well, you cheated on your girlfriend, so I know you're a liar.
Yeah.
Like, well, that's not cool. That's not cool.
Yeah.
Like before we started recording this, you guys are playing Fury. Letters from Whitechapel.
Whitechapel,
right?
yeah.
So one person's Jack the Ripper. You're going through the streets of London. You're killing. You know the story of Jack the Ripper.
Was he some kind of famous person or something?
Yeah.
Something.
He's really English guy.
Oh, okay.
Kevin, if you're not joking right now, I'm hitting you with that bottle.
And Kevin,
Oh, thank God.
is Jack in the game, right? And all of his movements are hidden. Everything that's going on his side of the board is hidden. And the other players are trying to catch him, right? Because he's, kind of killing people. You guys are friends. Been friends for a long time, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So y'all know a lot about each other, and currently you're on opposite sides in this game. That kind of sets it up. I'm pretty sure the two of y'all, no matter what happens in that game, you're gonna be friends. You may fuck you, man, on the way home, a couple times. But as it stands, though, it's not going to ruin a friendship. It's not going to stop anything because both of you understand, hey, we've been friends forever. We know what's going on. You're not going to cross those outside of the game boundaries.
It's so funny you mentioned that because we played disc golf this morning with a guy that we played Blood on the Clock Tower last night who, in our opinion, threw 3 games in a row. And so literally the first thing we said when we got out of our truck was, fuck you.
Right.
Wow.
So, 2 things I wanted to. So, mention drunk. Drunk, no. A little buzzed, however, I think can help that game.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A little buzz. I think again, going with the.
I mean, I was there last night.
Is there a certain alcohol that maybe we've drank tonight that you would recommend to help you get that buzz?
Not Chivas Regal. No, I would go with pitcher margaritas.
Oh Jesus.
And I think that's the perfect pregame for a game of Blood. Yeah.
No.
Now I'm hitting you with the bottle. Jody, I would like you to talk about something. It's been mentioned briefly, but I would like to direct it in about being able to read people, like specifically not just reading the room, but people in general.
Holder mentioned a poker term earlier, and I definitely wanted to elaborate on that. Actually, I was thinking about that before he actually said that. If you're really good at poker, or at least halfway decent at poker, you'll probably be decent at social deduction games, at least as far as the parts of poker where you're paying attention to, your hand. You got to know how to bluff. You got to know how to read your opponent. And are you good enough to read your opponent to the point of where you know if he's reading your bluff or not?
Well, it's like No Rules Barred, YouTube channel that does Let's Plays, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
They played Skull here several months ago.
That's another great game.
Pretty good social deduction game. You have 2 coasters. One of them has a skull. One of them has
4.
a flower.
Yeah, 4. 3 are
one
flower.
has a skull,
Yeah.
and 3 have flowers, right? And every turn when it comes around to your turn, you put a coaster down face down, and the next person either has to put one down, or they have to say how many can they turn over before they hit a skull, right? They had a guy there that was playing with them that was a professional poker player, and he destroyed them. He never, and these are the other people that are playing are people that play games. That's what they do. This guy's a poker player, and they're like, "Hey, this is how the game works." He goes, "Oh, cool." And he asks like one question, and it's like, all right, let's play. And like several turns in a row, just bang, 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 he's winning. And the guy that runs it just looks at him and goes, how? It's just poker, man.
To read that you were all bluffing, because that's all that game is bluffing. It's liar's dice with 3 cards.
It's a pure bluffing game, really.
Yeah, 3 or 6, give or take.
And but that's the thing. That translates out whether you have the cards, whether you have chips, whether you have dice, whether you have whatever you have.
A roll, even.
A roll. You're having to run that balance of how much can I lie to this person where they're just like, nah, there's no way.
Mm-hmm.
How much truth can I stretch? How much have they been paying attention so that if I make a callback to something, are they going to call me out when I mention that, no, you said that guy was the thing, and really you didn't. You said something else, but, they're saying, are you saying it with enough confidence to make them think, well, maybe I did say it?
And also, if you're playing multiple games with the same people, like we played like 3 or 4 games with Blood the first time we played it, if you're consistently doing something a certain way, keep doing that if that's part of your bluff. Because if your body language is saying that I'm not lying to you, like you have your hands on the table the whole time when you're like the chef in Blood on the Clock Tower, keep your hands on the table.
That's
got to keep that ruse up.
Your own tells. And
that's also true.
It's super important that just like you can pick up on somebody else's, your own, or you can
self-awareness.
Yeah, self-aware, being aware of being able to pick up perception, like you said earlier.
And do you know what you're doing, and can you use that to your advantage? Like if I steeple my hands every time I tell a lie because that's what I've always done, and I'm playing with a friend of mine who's known me for 30 years, so he knows this means I'm lying about something. Maybe I need to do this when
you're telling the truth,
about something to throw him off, or to throw off the guy from 3 games ago who may have been that super perceptive person who's like, wait a minute, every time this guy does this,
I was gonna say it's not just physical tells either, like verbal, audio.
Oh yeah, verbal.
If you start having if you start getting defensive,
any sort of tics,
I'll also, and this one will make, again, you can't see this, but the people to the left of me got, lol random. No, don't be lol random. If the group, one of the things about the game is obviously trust. If the group all together has agreed, we're going to do this one thing because we're not sure about what's going on, then don't just immediately be like, lol random. So last night, a player was about to die in Blood on the Clock Tower. He had enough votes to not be immediately executed, but if nobody else got as many votes, they would be executed. Everybody noticed one person was a safe player. And it's like, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to nominate him. We all came together and we all agreed. We're just going to vote as many people to make it even so that both people are off the block. I'm moderating the game. I throw my hand down. The people that are supposed to vote, they go up, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, everything's great. I'm expecting this thing to pass. Everything's fine. And then all of a sudden, I'm getting right to the very end. Dude throws his hands up, it's a chaos. I'm like, okay, so that's 5. That's enough to kill him, and it's okay. Now nobody knows what the fuck is going on, and now we're frustrated.
Monkey wrench.
And we're not frustrated in a good way. It's like, okay, we're making the good guys and the bad guys are both frustrated because nobody can trust anybody, and the whole thing is just weird.
That tilts the players.
The thing that was stated earlier.
Like I guess it goes into self-aware, but what you think is fun might not be fun for everyone.
Oh yeah,
you have to realize
because like you like chaos and you think like it's fun to screw up everything. Like, well, now you just voted off a guy who had no reason to be nominated in the first place.
In the first place.
I mean, thankfully, again, Blood in the Clock Tower, you have a little more freedom after
that. Oh, if that had been Werewolf, that
you
my
just
god,
won an entire game for one individual because it's
that's a good keeping in mind that you are trying to have a game and you, of course you want to win the game, but also you want to have fun with everybody.
Because respect the other players.
Like I was playing last night with a lot of people that I have never met before, never didn't even know their names, So you have to be respectful of that, and don't just I'm out for just having fun for myself, because this is a social thing. Like, it's not like a game where you're just playing. I put this piece here and
Like,
everything.
it would have been real easy for you to be a dick.
Oh yeah.
Because you really, like, you knew Jarrett. You
Yeah.
knew Gomez. The rest of the people,
Yeah,
though.
Kevin Gallo, that's about it.
Kevin, you knew
Yeah.
Kevin, but like the rest of the people, you really didn't know. I mean, you know, Kevin here from just
Yeah.
voice.
We were talking about it after outside. Like, if you're going to run a game that requires a moderator, you also should be respectful of their time.
Get out of my
Because
head.
they're not even playing the game. And, like,
Right.
Jay, thankfully, Jay's an awesome moderator. But, like, if it were, he's got a way longer leash than I would. Because if I would have come out last night and then how the last games ended the way they did when people were drunk and nothing was getting done for 25 minutes and it's just chaos, and it's like, I don't think that's respectful of. I mean, he could be doing literally anything else with his day.
Yeah.
Think about it in terms of like Werewolf, right? With Werewolf, you're technically, there's a moderator card. You're supposed to shuffle that into the pack when you deal out the cards to everybody, and somebody gets the moderator card, and that person is now the moderator. They're not playing the game. So think about if that game would have been random, right? And you played the first game and it was fun. You played the second game and it was fun, and then the third game, oh, you got the moderator token, so you're the moderator now, and then that devolves into chaos.
I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
You know, there you go. Because now I'm not playing, so I'm not actively involved, and you're wasting time to get to the next game where I can be involved again.
And if you're a stranger, especially, won't be invited to play another game, possibly.
And if you're in a room full of strangers, like this was about 5-6 years ago at CoastCon, I was actually playing in a game of Werewolf where it was 22, 23 people. Okay. If you're wasting 22 to 23 people's time, like just do it, like, and you don't know any of them, or maybe you just have your own selected group in there, like, trolling can be funny. I will admit that. But trolling people in real life, having to look at them in the eye and do that to them, that's fucking garbage. I mean, it just is.
If you're playing Among Us with 8 of your friends, like if it's just your solo group and you're trolling, like, I think that's a little different than. But
there's a time. There's a time and
knows
place.
one another,
yeah, there's a time and place for that.
3 people in the game last night.
Right.
So the people who might have been wasting his time, like, that's not fun for him.
No.
Like, you got out.
I want to say a brief run about Brady's
saw the
MVP
writing on the
run.
wall.
It's the foresight.
Brady's MVP run as a poisoner in Blood on the Clock Tower last night. My favorite part about it is, so we had a washerwoman. The washerwoman got poisoned and got told that a role that wasn't in the game was actually one of these 2 people. And he then asked that person, hey, what is your role? And that role, he asked the demon. And the demon was out of it. Just going to say it. And I showed him the 3 roles he could have picked from. Said, oh, yeah, I'm the washerwoman. I'm like, that's impossible. I'm the washerwoman. It's like, I know there's a soldier in the game, and I know one of you is a soldier. And you went, I'm not a soldier.
I was like,
wait, what do you
I'm
mean?
not
And
the
it's like,
soldier.
well,
You might have been poisoned. I don't know.
yeah, you might have been poisoned, said the poisoner to the person he poisoned. Yeah,
And I
it was
used
just-
meta there because in the previous game he had been very like he was very like, we got okay, if this is like this, then this has to be like he was very logicking things out. He was very loud with his conviction. So I was like, in case he gets something where he gets some information, let me poison him so he has the wrong information, so he runs with it.
There you go.
And let's not forget the end of that game where you gave the poor monk a crisis.
This was the guy.
You know, in
this was the
game-
guy who I lied to his face, looking him in the eyes.
The monk can protect somebody, right? At the end, every night.
Every night the monk can protect somebody.
So what was happening is Brady was waking up. Brady's poisoning the guy who's the monk. The monk's waking up. He's pointing at the person he wants to protect. Okay. The demon's waking up, pointing at the person the monk just protected. Okay. Everybody wakes up. You're dead. What happened?
I'm the monk.
I'm the monk.
Like halfway through, he was like,
Swear.
I have to be the drunk. I am the drunk. I am the.
Yeah.
There's no
Well, you
way
did it
I'm
like
not the
3
drunk.
times,
Yeah.
right? Like
3
three
times
times in a row, you
Yeah.
poison the monk.
This man has PTSD
Yeah.
from this now.
Instances, right? So, like, the imp doesn't know who's
Yes.
getting
Yeah.
saved.
Oh no, that was the greatest course of serendipity in
Like,
the history
the
of
imp
this
doesn't
game.
even know that I'm the poisoner. He just knows I'm a bad guy.
Knows that he's on
Yeah.
his team, yeah.
So like he doesn't even know what's going on with that. It's just like his drunkenness was like sinking with me, and it was just,
That's a scary thought.
like his drunkenness, the monk's drunkenness, and then my soberness was all like weaving together to this perfect like confluence of events that's just
And then the third piece of the MVP run is Brady claimed to be a role that somebody else was in the game, which means he has drawn attention to his, at the very least, lie, possibly being evil, possibly being the imp. The end of the game, if for bad to win, there's got to be 2 people left and one person's the imp. People start going, okay, like they started moving towards the demon. It's like, okay, he's the demon, and then just enough seeds were planted to say, wait a minute, the demon's been drawing attention, and Brady's just been sitting there.
yeah.
And I know he's a liar because he lied about being the role that
Yeah.
I am.
And he was also
so-
like, I know how he acts when he's caught in a lie.
And this is about meta
Yeah.
stuff. You're going about meta stuff. It's like, yeah, you have just enough information to be completely fucked over by. And then everybody votes. Brady votes for himself to die. There's 2 people left. One's a demon. One's another character.
That was just
bad
that
guys
was just
win.
Brad
That
selling,
was
though, again.
that Brad also
He's taking the attention off the imp. Come on, bro.
Yeah. Well, but again, like Kevin, our other friend Kevin Gallo, like that was the seed was planted.
He was sitting
that
there
hook
just
was there,
rocking back and forth.
and boom.
Brady's got to be the imp.
Yeah, Kevin
Brady's
Gallo
the
had
imp.
pinned
Brady
ASAP.
is the
Yeah,
imp.
he did.
Somebody nominate Brady. He's the imp.
Yeah. And when nomination came, it was Brady getting targeted, Brady getting killed, and winning it for his team. Like, that was an MVP caliber performance. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to be good at social games, just be
Hats off,
Brady.
Brady.
Just be,
Not always
just
that
be-
good.
That's a big praise for someone who says he doesn't like social deduction games.
Unless your Brady is the imp and you get killed the very first day in the game. That we
Okay, quick little story time. So he gets executed the first day. I'm about to say everything, and Jason goes, "Okay, now wait, everybody. Okay, so now Brady's dead. Now I want everybody to focus on what everybody's been saying here, and then everybody is putting in all their sense. And I'm just standing there to say that they've won, and I can't say anything because okay. And I look over at Brady, and Brady's like, and he's just like nodding, like just shaking his head. And I'm waiting again. And everybody, okay, we're ready to go. Okay, so the good guys won, and because you killed the imp, and it was just like, but I think that speaks very highly for Blood on the Clock Tower specifically, but also for social deduction games in general, because they generate these stories, these involvements with people that you may have known for 20 years or people you just met 20 seconds ago. And I think that's one of the most fascinating things that can come from that. I would say as kind of a last little thing, be proactive in the game. Put yourself in the game. Don't sit back. Don't necessarily sit back. Like maybe you sit back to kind of judge the room, but insert yourself
have the
in the game
confidence
socially
to, like,
and as a person.
speak up, and that can be hard when you're around people that you don't know
Or brand new
or
at
brand new
gaming
at
in general.
Yeah.
If you don't see yourself as an assertive person, I would say, or if you have a hard time like speaking up, if you find information out or if you figure something out, like sitting back actually can hurt the game. So, and you probably won't even enjoy a social deduction type game. So if you are that kind of person, and I'm not saying that that's a bad type of person, just these types of games just might not even be for you.
And if you don't have it in you, or at least you don't think you have it in you, watch No Rolls Bard's Blood on the Clock Tower playthrough. They'll give you some ideas
They
on
have
how.
multiple of them
yeah,
too, yeah.
They'll give you some ideas on what to do. And basically, you're just being an actor. You're just trying to be like an amateur actor, really.
Last small little thing. If you do not lying, even in the construct of the game like that, if you don't like lying, don't play these games.
That's what they're all about.
There you go.
Well, I think we're pulling into the.
We're pulling in the station. We're about to get the final 3 count. The movie's going into its final reel.
Oh, you tied that up all nicely.
That was well done.
That's a little
Yeah.
bow
I
on it.
try.
Man.
I try sometimes. Only sometimes though.
Well, I have to say this was a very enjoyable.
This was fun.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Travelers, thank you.
Oh, no.
much
It's
for
been
having
great.
us.
We've been looking forward to this
Good
for a
time.
while, and I think that this was this lived up to the expectations, at least in my view.
So you're saying as a fan, that it worked for you.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we've been shouting each other out on all our shows.
Well, I'll tweet like all of my
wow.
issues with it. You know.
You know, we've had I think on y'all. No, that wasn't on y'all's channel. Never mind. I was gonna say in the past we've had a sit down with at least Jarrett.
Yes, that was.
Yeah,
show.
that was in the long.
That was a hot
time
never
before.
forgotten.
The
We don't
before
speak
four
of-
land.
In
Yes.
the before times.
The before four times.
You know, but
Tomorrowland.
Being able to like actually everybody sit down, with the exception of Ethan, and really and truly, I mean, this is.
I mean, but did we
this
really
is-
miss him?
this is
No, I'm
way
kidding.
past his
Yeah.
We missed him.
He's already had his hot milk
Yeah.
totty. He's ready to go to bed. You know, this is the way
His
we go.
peach whiskey
Yeah.
and
Had his bottle,
I
he's
do.
been tucked in.
We need the next time we do this, and there will be a next time.
I
God
definitely
damn it.
Yes.
want to say
The
we
next
need to
time
do
we.
this again. This has been a lot
Yeah,
of fun.
absolutely.
I think,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think the reason, like, there was something else big that Ethan had to do another time, or he could have even asked off for maybe this day or something like that. But so
Yeah, no, like
we'll-
let me
we'll-
give a shout out again to Ethan real quick. Like that young man works very hard because we both work at the same location. He works very hard. He puts a lot of serious time in it. He also puts a lot of serious time with his girl Bianca, Queen B. Shout out to you also as well. One of the reasons why he couldn't ask out for time for this because he had already asked time because they went on a bit of a boating cruise last Saturday, and I think this is a good thing for this too. Like when it's all said and done, when you're about to go into the ground, the only thing you're taking with you are the memories. That's a bit. And like this, like how this goes, what anyone else might feel about this night as far as people who weren't here, for the people that are sitting at this table right now, I cannot thank you enough. And this is something that's going to be with me as a good memory for as long as I am alive.
Couldn't agree more.
Joke's on you,
I'll
Jay.
choose to
I'm
that.
getting
Wait.
a dump truck pulled up to my grave, and it's all getting poured in. So,
Oh shit!
You know, I want to be like Big E. When I die, just throw me in a ditch.
don't say no words.
Just throw me in a ditch and continue on.
I've-
Send me back to nature.
I think this will be really good. I think this can spur some potential guest opportunities going forward as well.
Oh
I
yeah,
know, I'm
100%,
gonna-
man.
And we talked about it on our podcast, but I know Jody's going to give me some pointers on that screenplay I'm writing.
Oh yeah,
so.
for sure.
You don't want me on a live mic. I am the most edited person on this thing, and I'm the one who does the editing. I'm like, why did I
I
say
think
that?
it'd be a breath of fresh air, Jay.
Yeah,
Where?
a breath of something.
Oh, definitely.
I'd be more like a breath of Flint, Michigan water.
He's going to bring
Speaking of
the
Flint, Michigan.
Chivas, Regal. Man.
Wait.
Hold on.
Please finish your thought.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the Michael Moore documentary. On the water system, you know.
Oh, that has
yeah.
that's a movie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
The set,
And if
the
you-
setup was
movies,
way
Silence Your
better
Cellphones,
than.
where can they find
and
you?
does Flint, Michigan water taste like whiskey? That's another tie-in then. It'll
I think
be
it
great.
tastes like
Burns
death.
like some whiskey.
The whiskey burn is enjoyable. Hey, look, if you've listened to our show a couple of weeks ago, we had a whiskey that we probably would have preferred Flint, Michigan water.
Canadian Hunter.
We would like to send our thoughts and prayers to the people of Flint, Michigan. For the love of God, one
Yeah.
day, can you have some? Oh, no, okay, that's true. That's true.
You can find all these podcasts
you
on
can
all
chew on them at some
platforms where podcasts can be found.
Before we get into shouting out where you can find all of our podcasts, we do need to say a big thank you to McNarb Gaming here.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And to Greg Spanier.
Thank you, Greg.
Yeah.
We are in the dungeon.
Brady, do a quick plug for him.
Come down to McNarb's. They got puzzles and shit.
Because they have puzzles and shit, that's why.
There are D&D miniatures. There are card games.
The shit covers everything else that's not puzzles, damn it.
There are thousands of things.
There's
on those
chess,
shelves.
Jason.
They got
Chess.
chess and shit, too.
There are maybe 5 puzzles out there.
Thingamabobs?
There's
They've
a
got
few
20
puzzles.
Puzzles and shit.
Oh, yeah.
Excited when I walked in, I was like, I don't even know if Mark actually has puzzles.
They have puzzles.
We will show you the puzzles. Okay, there you go. There you go.
They'll help glue for it next week, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Nah.
No, probably not. Now, who needs puzzle
Greg
glue?
knows how to get the old ladies up in here.
You're not coming for the puzzle.
Y'all do bingo here?
What?
Move the Catan, more room for puzzles.
The bus looking.
Now this has finally
Oh,
devolved.
we haven't had wheels for 30 minutes.
Y'all are a movie podcast. You've seen movies, right?
Looks something like that.
Which one?
away from the gasoline.
There is no Thunderdome here.
It's more like of a Thunder Tupperware.
So yeah, thanks to McNarb for that, letting us. We're not in our studio normally. We're in the dungeon, which is awesome. You know, we've got everything set up. Michael.
Yeah,
got
thank you,
everything
Michael.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael, for
Hill.
doing this technical shit because I couldn't.
For now and forever, the engineer.
You guys come to listen to our podcast, you'll be very disappointed in the quality drop.
No, if he's coming, he's bringing all his shit. So you don't have to worry about that.
Apologize in advance for that.
Yeah, our Zoom.
No reason to apologize.
Oh man.
So we're doing the plug?
So
Yeah, let's.
I was gonna.
He tried.
I tried 10 minutes ago.
He tried.
And then
Okay.
I tried 5 minutes ago. And then
we got sidetracked by puzzles.
Jody, our JL Kight, our prime minister.
I'm going to pass
Try
it off
again.
to our actual host, Jason Holder, who's been pretty much been hosting the show. Because I have just been enjoying the ride.
So do you guys wanna plug y'all's podcast and your
With the
your
social.
TV show?
The whole thing, the whole bit? Like the
Fireman.
Do the whole bit.
Yeah.
All right,
Do the
guys,
whole bit.
Silence Your Cellphones. You can find our podcast on Spotify. We're live on YouTube. Silence Your Cellphones. You can find us on Facebook. Silence Your Cellphones in the subcategory of podcasts. We have an IG, as the kids say, and Instagram.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you explained that. 'Cause I didn't know what that was.
Because I had no clue what that meant.
You guys are, we're 30. We're in the prime of our lives. You guys
Oh.
are a little bit older than that. Wise
Yeah,
wisdom.
I've reached middle age.
Yeah,
I don't know
you're
anything
middle aged
about
now.
Yeah,
The crisis is coming.
give it a few years.
So IG is Silence Your Cellphones. We tweet. I have a tweeter. It's Silence Phones, but if you type in Silence Your Cellphones, you'll see us. We're there.
Okay.
And we have a Gmail. If you want to reach out to Jared or I, ask questions or be a guest on the show, we'd love to hear you out. Or we are Silence Your Cell Phone no s at gmail.com, and you can blame that on Jared. I think that's every.
Don't blame my
Did I
chromosomes.
get it?
We got a Patreon.
We do have a Patreon. Got a few videos on there. Yeah.
Well
Patreon / Silence Your Cell Phones. We got a couple vids, and we hope to do some more stuff with that.
Making that sweet Patreon.
Yeah.
That's what it's
Those
all
look like
about.
old
right
fogies
there.
over
Roughly,
here.
give or take.
Thanks.
A few cents. Thanks. Laura, am I allowed to shout people out?
Well, they're my favorite.
Yeah,
They're my
it's your
favorite.
Name
promo.
drop.
It's your promo.
Me
Go
and
for it.
Lauren Lenekis are longtime day one fans who are awesome, and we love them. And I love you more than Jared ever could. So there's that.
Well, that was probably a shout out. I love Anthony a lot.
Yeah.
He's my brother-in-law.
You love
I get him in the divorce. But she knows that.
Yeah, but that's, I
I love you, man.
catch.
That's true. The tall Lithuanian.
Whiskey and Wrestling.
Wait, well, again, that was Blake Shelton and Anna Darmus for Silence Your Cell Phones.
I was ready for it. I thought you were gonna nail me with that, Brady.
No, what I usually do is awkwardly wait for other people to do the promo because I can't remember your name. That's the way I do things.
Hints.
Puzzles and shit. The second T-shirt. Puzzles and shit.
Oh, you want me to? Okay.
Yeah, I'll let
Whiskey
you
and
do it.
Wrestling. You can find us anywhere fine podcasts are found. We talk about wrestling and drink some whiskey. We
Anywhere
try
you
to-
can dig them out of the ground.
We are also on Facebook at Whiskey and Wrestling, and we also have a Gmail account that you can email us at. Not that either of us actually check it, but you can email us, and that's Whiskey in Wrestling. So no and, it is just the N. WhiskeyInWrestling at gmail.com. Check us out. We'll have our SummerSlam review following this. Of course, this probably won't come out before then, but you know.
Yeah.
You should do your SummerSlam review before SummerSlam. Make people fucking deal.
The Vince
Actually,
McMahon
you know-
twist of
you
him
know-
coming out and taking the company back over.
Yeah.
You know,
Man, don't make me sad.
Vince is going to pop up on the Tron.
Like 1984.
name on the contract.
And I've cloned Kevin Dunn.
No, stop, please.
And John
I can't take
Laurinaitis.
this anymore.
So yeah, that's us. Travelers.
So much better.
Travelers on the Omnibus. James McCarthy, Ethan Skinner, Brady Davis, Jody Kight. It is a field trip through nerd and pop culture. Like, comment, and subscribe. Send your blood in a whiskey bottle. We'll read it live on air at travelersontheomnibus@gmail.com. That's 1L, travelersontheomnibus@gmail.com. Apparently no one remembers the reference of when it just sending blood in the mail. Yeah, you were like literally going...
I remember.
Okay, no, that's bath water, you goddammit.
That was Stepford Wives, Jay.
Yeah, it was with Stepford Wives on the Omnibus.
Yes, that's exactly
Join
what
us
that
next
was.
time when we kill all our husbands.
And next up on our podcast list, we have Fearology. You want to tell us about Fearology?
That's true. Yeah, Fearology is so widespread. It's on one platform.
That's all it needs.
Two, Spotify and Anchor.
They're both tied together. But yes, Spotify and Anchor. Indeed. No Gmail.
No, you have
No
to
Gmail
listen to
required.
find out.
No.
It could be about anything.
It is anything to do with horror.
Even something
And the
having
state
to
of
do with
horror.
horror. It could be anything.
And another, I've tried to record this last episode 4 times. The universe does not want it to happen because my memory keeps crashing on my computer.
Do you need a sensual back rub to help you?
No, I do not. Thank you. Very creepy.
I wasn't offering. I'm just saying, do you need one?
No, it was implied, and no, thank you.
You said it with your eyes.
Yeah.
That's
that's
right.
fair.
Yes,
Yeah.
I read what you were saying.
I wasn't going to use my hands. I was going to use my eyes.
I
to
used
just
my
rub your
power of
back.
social deduction to
exactly.
see what you were doing
There
there.
you go.
The state of horror is
Can you
very
imagine getting a
sad.
sensual back rub with someone's eyes just like pressing into your back?
No, just their eyes.
You can find that out on Fearology.
That's the tagline. Fearology. It's like a sensual back rub with only your eyes.
Eyeballs.
And that's still way better than the Monster trailer.
Yes,
so.
yes.
Yes, 100%. 10 out of 10.
Fearology. Do you like
I love the state of horror. I really do.
Yes, Florida's nice this time of year.
Yeah, Florida. 100%.
He said he loved the state of horror, so there you go.
Yeah.
You can get eaten by a crocodile down there.
You can.
Oh, fuck a crocodile!
We're in Florida? Did you explode?
Yeah.
What is going on? How do we end this?
That's what I tried to do, but okay.
That's what the attempt was.
Yeah, that was the
Always
attempt.
that to be the end, but I doubt.
Let's
you
just
will.
wait 5 more minutes so it can be 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Is that? Where are we at? What are we at?
Hey, it wasn't the 8-hour podcast. We're doing
Never
good.
gonna be an hour.
We're on track.
Oh,
We're on
hell
track.
no.
Well,
Yeah. No.
We
No.
bullshitted for nearly 20 minutes before we even got
Yes.
into
Yeah.
topics.
Podcasting is a lot like the times put on the boxes of board games. It's like it plays in about 45 to 90 minutes. Okay, 5
Yeah,
hours
yeah.
later.
No. See, that's the problem. Podcasting is just like the numbers that are on the board game, not the time when the age one where it says 2 to 4 years.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, remember when we started Travelers? When we were like, yeah,
2
we're
to 4
gonna
years old?
it's gonna be about an hour. It's gonna be
Yeah,
about
it's
an
like
hour.
when
HVAC.
An hour. We're gonna aim for an hour. People can't handle listening to anybody for longer than an hour. Okay, so an hour and a half then.
Welcome to the post show where we passive aggressively bitch about podcasting.
This thing that you're listening to.
Jason, you remember when we used to do 2 hours of podcasting a week?
Yeah, I remember when we did an hour for Raw and an hour for
It
SmackDown.
was an hour for Raw and
hour
SmackDown
for
and an
WWE.
hour for AEW and
Yeah.
NXT. So
Yeah.
And then, fortunately, it all went to shit on one side.
Yeah, so
and then
we
it's
could
slowly
condense.
sliding into shit on the other side. Quick, Kevin, what is your 3 favorite wrestlers of all
Favorite
time?
wrestlers are the Great Khali, The Rock,
Okay.
and Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Okay.
All have been in
Okay,
films.
there you go.
I thought he was going to
Okay,
come
there
with
you
Great
go.
Khali, Giant
The
Gonzalez.
reason, look, I didn't want to go
Yes.
the episode without saying the Great Khali because I really liked him in like Get Smart and.
Oh, so that helped. Good job. All right, there you go. 10 out of 10.
Longest Yard.
There you go.
There you go.
All right. I think that's a good point
Okay.
to end.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, right there.
Peace.
So thank you. God bless you,
Yes.
and good night.